took me some time to get to the place that you wanted me to be. I know it was never you. I just needed to work on me. But now I'm ready. I'm ready to love.
Alrighty. Listen, hey guys, welcome to Little Black Book 91. We're having one of those interesting conversations once more again. Yes, I have managed to swoon Alexis and get her on here to have one of those interesting conversations. Because if you watch Reunion Part 1, then you know we have to have this conversation. Alexis, how you doing today?
I am doing amazing. How are you?
I'm doing good. You know, I'm alive and well. I feel prayed up, so I'm ready to engage in discourse and some conversations. You know what I mean?
Sir. Blessed and highly favored.
Yeah, that's it. Let's
You
not
know?
favorite indeed. You know what I mean? Listen, you've made quite a wave on this particular season. You know, there was many different opinions regarding, you know, your journey on the show, which was obviously that I guess the climax reached with Reunion Part 1. But I always like to get to know people beyond just the show, because we want to be able to understand you, understand where you're coming from, and then maybe try to understand what actually happened on the show, because they edit it how they edit it. And so we're going to get to know you a bit better before the show, and then we'll get into some stuff in the show a little bit later on. Is that cool?
Yes, let's do it.
Come on now. You're looking very beautiful today as well.
Thank you.
All right?
Thank you.
No worries at all. Disarming me already. I can see it's working the charm. So obviously we have a little thing that we have here called human verification, right? So it's just a little something just to, I guess, break the ice a little bit, but also as well just to kind of get a bit of a flavor of the conversation. So one of my first questions I like to ask people is, if you had a plane ticket and you could go anywhere in the world, where would you go?
Ooh, this is a good question. And I thought about my answer before I came on, and I couldn't settle on just one place. So first I would probably choose Egypt. I definitely want to go to Egypt, you know, Mount Sinai, get a prayer in at just the edge of the mountain if I can. Or it's going to be totally opposite spectrum, or Tokyo, Japan. I have always wanted to go to Tokyo. Just the technology and just the culture out there seems really cool. One of my good friends went recently, and so he says all type of good things about it. So either Egypt or Tokyo.
Listen, I hear it, man. You know what? I was just reading my
Yeah.
Bible just earlier on today, and you know, I was reading about Egypt denial. But you know, it is a beautiful place to go to, and
Yeah.
Tokyo is another place I want to go to because I want to do the Mario Kart stuff. I'm just saying, I know. I want
Yes,
to do the Mario Kart
right?
stuff.
I gotta
You
get
know?
my peach on, you know?
Oh, so you choose Peach?
Yeah, of course. Come on now. Who you going with?
You know what? I'm gonna go with Toad. I can't lie to you.
Oh, okay. I
I
can
don't know
do
why.
Toe, but I mean, you gotta hold it down for the ladies. Let's go with Peach.
I'm not mad at it. Peaches is cool. I ain't
For
mad at
sure.
it. All right, second question. Android or iPhone?
Ooh, iPhone. Come on now.
Have you been iPhone all the
iPhone.
time?
I have always been iPhone. Always been iPhone. Yeah. I can't do the droids. The green, I can't do it. I have to have
It was going
FaceTime
so
too.
well.
Yeah, I have to do FaceTime, be able to do FaceTime.
No, I ain't gonna lie to you. Listen, I've joined the iPhone for the last few years, and you know, I can see the allure, and I
Yeah.
see why you guys are on it. I can see a little bit, just a little bit.
I mean, they're user friendly. Apple, for sure.
I mean, just a little bit, That's all right. All right, question number 3. Question number 3 is. No, I was gonna make it complicated, but it's no point.
Go ahead, let's do it.
No, it's not. No. It's too early. It's too early. We've got to ease into
Okay,
those
we'll
questions.
ease, we'll,
So,
we'll
question number
ease them
3.
into that.
Yeah, ease them in.
What's
You know what I
that?
mean? Question number 3 is cereal or the milk in the bowl first.
Cereal or milk in the bowl first? Cereal goes first, right? That's the general consensus. Why would you put milk first? You have
Listen,
to you need the cereal to gauge the depth of how much milk you need. You don't, you know? So yeah.
I mean, listen. I'm never one to say anyone should do it any other way. But you know, sometimes putting the milk in the bowl first is, you know, a healthier way of doing things. You know.
I feel like that's like going against the grain for the sake of just going against the grain. Like nobody
That
puts
that's like when someone puts ice in their cereal and it's normal.
ice.
People put ice in their cereal. Yeah.
I've never. I am from one of the countryest places in America, and I have never seen someone put ice in their cereal.
Hey, I'm new to this as well, but apparently a lot of Americans do it. You be putting ice in
Uh,
your cereal.
well, you put me on to something today because I'm gonna have to Google that one. I don't know about that.
Listen, you'd be surprised about that life. Oh, last question now.
Hmm.
I know Americans love their grits.
Hmm.
So, are you a sweet or a savory person when it comes to your grits?
Ooh, okay, that's a good question. If I'm eating grits for breakfast, I want sugar in my grits. If I'm eating
Okay.
grits for breakfast, I want sugar in them. If I'm eating brunch like shrimp and grits or for dinner or something like that, then I want them a bit more savory. You know what I mean? A little
So it depends
cheesier.
on the day.
Yeah, but if yeah, breakfast grits, I want them sweet. Like shrimp and grits, I want them savory.
Okay. All right. I'm with
Yeah.
it. All right. I've never had
Yeah.
grits, so you know
You've
what?
never
I
had
just heard
grits?
that you guys are.
What do y'all have in the
No.
UK? Like porridge?
Porridge, yeah. Porridge,
For
which
real? I was
yeah, but
joking.
porridge is not grits though. Porridge is like you guys call it like unrefined oats or something like that.
Oats?
Like
Yeah.
still cut, or still something. It sounded
Steel
really
cut oats.
metallic. I don't understand. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, I'm
kind of weird
good.
name to it.
I'm a southern girl. I like, give me my grits.
I need to take a little trip down south, so
Yeah.
I'll let you know when I arrive there. All
That'd be
right,
cool.
listen, you've passed our human verification. I
I'm
believe you
real.
are human. Listen, you're real. You're not AI. Okay, all right. So we really do appreciate that. Listen, we gonna get in some conversations. Let me play my little clip.
Deeper.
It's about
That's
to get
good.
deep.
About to
Listen,
get deep.
my opening question is always the same, and I'm gonna keep it the same today again. Alexis, who is Alexis, and what is Alexis' story?
Um, I'll start by saying Alexis is a wild card. Alexis is definitely a wild card. So I guess I'll start from the beginning. I was born and raised in Jackson, Mississippi. I'm a Southern girl through and through. My parents, they were college sweethearts. They both went to the same college, Alcorn State University. Go Braves! Even though I'm from Jackson. So we're a Braves family. My parents have been married for, they were college sweethearts. They've been married for about, just this past November, made 45 years. That's been like the biggest impact of all of who I am and how I've been molded, my foundation. But yeah, I grew up with what I consider to be like the American dream. Like I couldn't have planned a better childhood if I literally wrote it out. You know, parents were, two-parent household, grandparents were married 60 some odd years on both sides before, they each passed away. Um, Me and my brother, I have an older brother, an older sister. They're, both married, have families. But growing up, we just really grew up with everything that we wanted, everything that we needed. We were spiritually fed. We were always financially, stable. I can't remember a time like, where we struggled. Well, I mean, we may have struggled, but my parents were the type of people, they didn't let us know. My mom is a school teacher. She's a retired school teacher. My dad is same. The man worked 6 days a week for 40 some odd years. He is a project manager for a construction company. So he's retired now. He just retired recently. And yeah, my childhood, I grew up with traditions and just happy, just really nurturing and caring. We went to church and we visited the grandparents and, parents on the PTA and, all the sports and all the things. So I had an amazing childhood, even into adulthood. My parents still support all of us that way. We're a really, really close knit family. And so, as far as we have a family dinner once a week together at least. I talk to my mom and dad every day. They still live in Mississippi. So I FaceTime them often and talk to them often. We talk every single day just about, um, uh, yeah, I had a good childhood, man. Same siblings that squabbled and whatnot. And, we got over it. But the one thing our parents really taught us was to always, be authentic and genuine with each other and to love each other and support each other. They didn't let us fuss too much. And yeah, I'm a normal everyday girl. I had a regular, normal, happy childhood. So, in school, I went to performing arts school as a kid. Yeah, I originally was there for academics. Was gifted. And one of my teachers, told my mom, hey, there's this performing arts school that is there for, performing arts and academics. And I think Lexi would be really good to test in. So we tested in, I made it. And then when I was there, I decided to double major. And so then I went into ballet. And so not just ballet, but I was in the dance department as well as academics. I'm classically trained. I do point, jazz, tap, whatever, you name it, all of it, classical ballet, everything. I played sports all my life, basketball, volleyball, was really good at it, really good at it. I was just a regular kid, I was pretty popular growing up. I was homecoming queen, Miss whatever high school. I'm not gonna say my school name on here, but yeah, I was just a normal, regular kid growing up. I had everything. I thought the world was just this huge, huge place. My parents always encouraged us to get our education and get out of Mississippi. And, they wanted to see us really thrive. After high school, went to college. I went to Mississippi State my freshman year. And I realized that as good of a student as I was, I didn't feel like school was for me at the time. I wasn't feeling it. If I had like filthy rich parents, I would have been that kid that would have been like, I'm taking a gap year to go backpack Europe and, find myself and do all of that. But I went to college and it just wasn't for me really at the time.
Why was it not for you?
I was over just feeling like I had to do something because that was what was expected of me. My parents are both college educated. Brother went to college, sister went to college, everybody went to college. I'm the black sheep, the one that was like, I don't like this, And so I had a decision to make. And so
Oh wait, were you last born?
Yeah, I'm the baby.
Okay.
Baby.
Okay,
yeah,
fair enough.
Yeah, I'm the baby.
Sorry, continue. Sorry about that.
No, that's cool. It's cool. And so I decided that I was gonna go to the military from there. I know, right? Not school, but military, right? So I perform better like under structure, when I'm not just I'm a very routine person. So I was like, I'll go to the military, I'll let them pay for my school, I'll go and, travel the world and do all these different things. And that's at the point when my autoimmune condition really kind of started to show itself. And I started to just notice like symptoms and kind of different things associated with it then. And so I had gone so far as I had gotten a tattoo removed to be able to go into the Air Force. I had taken the ASVAB. I made like a 97. I blew it out of the water on the ASVAB. I was going to be able to choose any job I wanted. And when they did the physical, that's when they saw that's when I was actually first like medically diagnosed like with my condition. And so from that point, my dreams were like kind of shattered as to, okay, now what am I going to do, with my life, right? And so from there, I talked to my brother, and he was living out in California. And he actually is in the industry that I'm in now. And he said, Lexi, I know you're, trying to figure things out. And I could potentially put you on with a job that, it's not the most glamorous job in the world, but you can really go far with it, and you can make something of yourself, and, make a pretty good living while doing it. And so, at this point, I'm kind of in a space where I'm like, okay, what do I want to do? Where do I want to go? And so it was like Mississippi or California. And so obviously I chose California. And so I moved out to Northern California, and I was there for a while, and I got into this industry, and I started from the bottom and just kind of worked my way to kind of where I am today, over the years. But I got into this industry, and I became really, really good at it, really good at it. And so over the last decade, man, it's been truly a blessing to have an opportunity, and then really take it and make it something when you thought that you had hit a brick wall and you didn't know where you were going to go, what you were going to do, how you were going to figure it out, right? So from there, I was in California. I'm sorry.
No, don't worry. You're good. You're good. You're in good space.
So from there in California, was there for a little while. And then job opportunity came up where I moved to Seattle, Washington. And so that was really interesting. Going from Mississippi to California and then to Seattle, it's like a culture shock. You travel and you do things like growing up, but to actually physically live there, and experience like how the city moves and how things work there, it's like it's complete culture shock. So Seattle was cool though. I was working out in Seattle for about 3.5 years or so. And then most of my family by this time had moved to the DFW area.
Okay.
And so I was as close as I am with my family. Just being in Seattle alone for a while, it just seemed like, you're on an island almost, by yourself, it feels like, or at least that's what I felt like. And so I just wanted to be closer to my family. And so started looking for, work within the industry that was here in the Dallas area, and found something and moved out here to Dallas, where I've been for the last 8 years, 9 years now. So yeah, I've lived quite a few places. I've experienced quite a few things. And yeah, that's kind of my spiel. I didn't go into a whole lot of detail, but that's
No,
that's
no, no,
kind
no.
of my
Listen,
spiel. Yeah.
no, you give us great detail. I guess obviously, you touched on a very important part of of life. And there's a few little parts that you spoke about, which is really interesting. I think the first thing when I was going to ask a question, but I wanted to let you kind of flow and finish. You mentioned it briefly. You talked about your autoimmune disease,
Mm-hmm.
and I want to know at that when you obviously first got diagnosed. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
how did that impact you, and how did that impact your life? How did that impact your mentality? Because you sound like growing up you're very talented. It
Mm-hmm.
sounds like you're one of those people that once you do something, you
I
gonna
do it
nail it.
well.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, you do it well.
Sure.
So once you then obviously get diagnosed with autoimmune disease, I want to know like your thought process. What happened? How did you manage to kind of gather yourself up through that season?
Yeah. So before I was actually medically diagnosed, I had just done my own research and applied what symptoms I had been noticing in myself. And just I knew what it was before I could even pronounce what it was and was told what it was. So when you finally are like, okay, yeah, it confirmed to me what I thought. Um, and you just don't know where to go from there with it, because at this time it's not in its worst stage yet. You know, it's just at the surface. It's just brewing at this point. And so at the time I didn't realize how bad it was going to be. And so I wasn't, nervous or afraid or anything. It just was a confirmation more so that, okay, this is what I have. And it's also, we're finding out now that it's not as rare as people think. It's just one of those things that people don't talk about a whole lot. Because it can be embarrassing. I was literally debilitated for about 1.5 years of my life because of it, in the literal sense.
When you say that, how do you mean? Just like people like they're not aware.
So around the end of 2018, I was working, and I'm a real stubborn person. I kind of let things fester sometimes, and I don't address things probably as soon as I should. And it was the same thing with this, over the years, it had just become, worse and worse. And after going to a bunch of doctors and nobody being able to help you, you just become hopeless. And so you just kind of write it off as something that I'm just going to have to deal with, right? And so around 2018, it hit its peak, it climaxed, and it literally shifted my life to the point where I went from being self-sufficient to having my mother to have to bathe me after healing surgeries and like that whole thing. So it literally, it rocked me to my core. It humbled me. It broke me down. That was my rock bottom. When my condition hit its peak. So in 2018, I finally showed my family how bad it had gotten, and they were like, "Lexi, like how were you functioning like this? Like how we had no idea, because you're going through this and you feel hopeless, and you can be in a room full of people and you just feel like people won't understand what it is." And so you just don't talk about it, you just deal with it. And so 2018, it hit its peak. I was lucky enough to find a specialist right in my hometown of Jackson, Mississippi. There's only about 5 specialists in the US with this that can even treat this condition. And so one of them was right in my hometown of Jackson, Mississippi, which was one of the biggest blessings. I think, that in itself was God speaking to me saying, you're going to get help. And so I went and I started getting help. And so over the course, so this was at the end of 2018. I had so much infection in my body, and I was so sick and just weak and fatigued that I was on antibiotics for about 4 or 5 months straight. They had to clear all of the infection out of my body before they would even operate on me, because it just wasn't safe. And so I finally started having my surgeries, and I had 4 surgeries over the course of 2019. So over the course of 2019, that was, oh man, that was hard. That was probably the hardest thing I think I've ever gone through. I know that I've gone through to date in my life. It brought me closer to God. It taught me a lot about myself. It taught me a lot about my support system, and my village, and how much they truly care for me. I'm sorry.
You're good.
Yeah, I remember one day, I'm sorry. Oof.
Take your time. You're good.
I remember one night I was laying up, and I had a procedure done, just an in-office procedure. And it was where they had to chemically like cauterize some of my skin to prevent it from, rupturing or reopening. And I was in so much pain, and it was going on about 2 or 3 days at this point that I hadn't slept well, I hadn't eaten well. And that's when I truly surrendered to God. I truly surrendered to God. And I remember laying in bed that night. And I remember laying in bed that night. And I remember asking God, like, why? You know, why am I going through this? But it had to teach me how to be strong. And how to put my faith in God that I was going to be okay. Oh my goodness, I'm not a crier, Kojo. I'm sorry.
Hey man, don't apologize. You
And
know what I
so
mean? This is real.
and so you know, you grow up in the church and you think you know God, right? Until you actually go through something. And the only thing that you can do is call out and say, I don't know what you're doing. I don't know why you're working this way in my life, but I surrender. You know, I surrender to whatever it is, and I'm ready. And so from that day, I was reintroduced to God. I was reintroduced to myself. And for the first night and about 3 nights, I got such peace. I had such peace. And from that moment forward, I knew that I never wanted to stray too far away from God again, you know. So to say, how did that impact my life? It almost shaped who I am sitting here today. So I'm thankful that I went through it and that I made it through it. Because it was some real dark days. It was some real dark days dealing with it. But
It's interesting you mentioned about the support system, because actually that was my question that was going to come up. Obviously, since we're Christians here, you know, Job had that situation where it's not nothing that you've sinned that's got you into that position. Do you know what I mean?
right.
It is literally just, this is God's plan. He's allowing it to happen, and we cannot fight what he's deciding to do. But Job also had a issue with the support system. So I want to know from your perspective at the time, obviously, what was that like going through those tumultuous times, and you know, on a real, like, how was the support system, and in terms of how you were able to interact with people, understanding was it a difficult thing to grasp? Like, how was it? How were you navigating that support system aspect when it came to the autoimmune?
My support system is the only reason why I'm here today. When I tell you supportive, I mean, I mean, it was days I couldn't brush my own hair. I couldn't brush my own teeth, you know. So when my mother and my father, you know, even though we're adults, you know, to this day, as long as they have air in their lungs, we have a home. We have a place to call home. And so it was never a doubt in my mind that, you know, my family, my friends, that they wouldn't be there for me. And they, you know, I had friends that would come over and just sit with me because there was days where I couldn't get out of bed, and I've been, you know, so they would just come to me and sit with me and just sit on the phone with me. And my mom would come and, you know, bring me food and just, you know, just throughout the day, and my medicine, and my nieces and my nephews would keep me, you know, positive, and just calling me and like, hey, TT, we're thinking about you. We love you. And so if it wasn't for my support system, yeah, it would be lights out for me. I was in a real dark place, so I probably wouldn't be here. Yeah, for
So
sure.
you know, I think this last 2-3 months, obviously, you know, I've been spending a lot of time in prayer, and spending a lot of time with God, you know, because I took a little bit of a hiatus. I can't lie to you. I was in the wilderness. You know,
4 years,
and
huh?
I came back. Yeah, 3 years was a time I spent in Babylon. I can't lie to you. Okay. um, and but when I came back, it was one of the most difficult things, obviously, because I gave my life to Christ at 22, and so, you know, there's a lot of tears and a lot of heartache. Talk to me a little bit about then. Obviously, you know, we go through some of these things in life sometimes, and everyone has their journey, their own crucible, and their own place of encountering God. and encountering Christ as well. So
Mhm.
when obviously like this situation's happening, and like you said, you had to kind of, this is where you get closer to God. Talk to us a little bit about that journey in terms of getting closer to God. What was happening? What was your mindset? How was you talking to God? What was God saying to you in those moments? What was that kind of conversation like between you and God at that point in time?
Um, I think everybody's relationship with God is different, you know. I think it's tailor made specifically because we're all different. Um, but for me, I'm not um, the type of person that needs to be on my knees and my head bowed in order for me to talk to God. I talk to God all day long. You know, I'll be riding in my car and you think it's muscle memory how you got there, and I was just sitting talking to God the whole ride. I do my devotions. I try to do my devotions in the morning. You know, I have a Bible app, and I read my Bible. I try and study. When I was really going through a whole lot of just darkness, I started to develop a really good friendship with one of my pastors. And so we would email, and he helped me through a lot of that. I would just read up on things and just ask him questions. What about this? What about that? How do you feel about this? Um, and then thank God I got a praying mama. I got a praying mama. So
Gotta pray, mama.
um, yeah, for real. I got a praying mama. So she was always, baby, pray about it. And so for me, my relationship with God is, I view God as both dark and light. The same God that created good created evil. He does all things. And so I think God, um, I'm sort of the same way. I have both light and dark, and I'm comfortable in both. And so I think God respects that. I hope God respects that about me. But that's kind of my relationship with Him. Like, God, I know you're working on me, but sometimes I fall short. Sometimes I get angry. Sometimes I say things or do things that I shouldn't, and that just is what it is. But as far as me and my relationship with God, I do need to go to church more. I definitely can say that I need to go actually to church more, and just continue to just be curious and ask questions and stay in that Bible, study that Bible, learn as much as you can, because from what I'm seeing, it's happening soon. You know what I
There's a lot
mean?
else going
So
on.
it's a lot going on. So get in your Bible and stay in it.
You use the words dark and light.
Hmm.
I'm going to pick up on that. So, when you say obviously you feel like you have a bit of darkness in you and a bit
Hmm.
of light in you, would love for you to kind of delve a little bit deeper and just kind of bring us into your world. What do you mean by dark and light? What does that mean for you from your perspective?
Yeah, I haven't always walked with God. You know what I mean? As much as
Same.
I've tried to, we don't always walk with God. So when I say I'm both dark and light, and I'm comfortable being that way, um, I don't shy away from my lower self. If I feel like that's where I need to be in order to deal with this situation or this person, then that's where I need to go. If I feel like, I prefer to be in my light. Don't get me wrong. I don't like to be in my dark, but if I have to, I will. Um, I prefer to be in my light, my lighter, my higher self, my lighter side, my higher self. Um, but different occasions calls for different personalities. I think it's interesting how, in society we say, like, when someone does something that's in their dark side or their lower self, we say, that's their true colors, right? But what about, the one time out of 10 they were in their lower self, that's their true colors. But the 9 times out of 10 that they did the right thing and they were in their higher, lighter self, then that's not their true selves. The 90% of the time that you see them, that's not their true self. So I've just become really comfortable with who I am, and that's my good and my bad. So that's what I mean by that is I'm just very comfortable in who I am in totality.
I love that fact you're comfortable in being who you are. I think that's quintessential. Any human being should be in that space where they're able to be comfortable with, both the good and the bad of themselves, because everybody's growing and we're trying to strive to be more
Yeah.
like Christ, as the Bible says, right?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe you can keep the journey going for us here then. So we're talking about obviously the dark and the light, right? And I feel like we're kind of skating a little bit on the edge, the peripheral of the conversation. So let's tap in a little bit more. What that dark aspect, right? I know my darker aspect is I can be a little bit manipulative. I'm very stubborn. You know what I mean? I'm very calculating in my movements. So I know I have some darkness to me as well. But from your perspective, obviously, the way you've spoken about childhood, it was perfect. It was like
Yeah.
you, both your parents, grandparents, So I want to know where this aspect of darkness that you're talking about, you're almost having to kind of accept, which of course all of us do. Where is that coming from? And what
Um,
is that darkness for you?
I would say, even with the childhood that I've had, you can give somebody everything in the world, all the resources in the world. If you're determined to bump your head and learn something the hard way, then that's what's going to happen. Everything, all of the darkness, all of the bad things that I can say that I've experienced in life, it was self-inflicted completely. It was self-destruction. It was me trying to find my way. It was me trying to figure out who I am and, where I want to be, the woman I want to be. But yeah, I didn't have anything traumatic, I would say, that happened that caused me to recognize that I have a dark side too, and to learn how to be okay with that. It's just something that I think when you start to do inner work on yourself and you really like look at yourself and take accountability for why are things the way they are, why do I do this, why do I do that, you just realize that some things are just life lessons. It just happens. Life just happens. It was written that way. That was what was supposed to happen, and you were supposed to learn that lesson. So yeah, I didn't have anything traumatic that happened that I could say that was a turning point that I knew I had a dark side. Like, no, you see it happening as things happen in life. Oh, that person said this to me. Oh, I know I can react in this type of way. Oh, that's my dark side. Oh, this occurred. Oh, okay. The way that I react. Oh, that's my dark side. Oh, okay. I'm okay with that. So it's just being able to recognize it. I think people oftentimes like to pretend that we're all good and we are all positive, and that's not the case. I experience all emotions. I'm happy, I'm sad, I'm anxious, I'm indifferent, I'm all sorts of things at all different types of times. So I think um, you know, it's not so much as embracing your dark side, but it's being able to recognize emotions and know when to apply certain parts of your personality to it more so.
So help me create more of a picture then.
Hmm.
Um, your last born.
Hmm.
What's the age gap between yourself and your rest of the siblings?
Between my oldest brother and myself, my oldest brother is, I think he's 41. So there's 8 years between my brother and myself, and there's about 3.5 years, almost four, between my sister and I.
Okay,
So
okay, that's not
not
too bad.
just super far off, and you know, we're not stair steppers, but we weren't just age gapped. I was the surprise baby, third time's a charm. So
It's a surprise, baby. You was like,
yeah,
oops.
the oh, not oops, the
Oh, the okay. My
I'll
bad. I
take
take
I'll,
that back.
I'll take over oops.
The I like that one.
Yeah.
Okay. So as the
Hmm.
baby being last born, obviously I'm a firstborn, so it's slightly different perspectives that we see life on. Um, so obviously, like I said, you growing up, you were strong willed and wanted to figure out your own way,
Very
which I
strong
think is quite
will.
intriguing. Is would you say that's different from your other siblings, your brother and sister?
I think I've always considered myself, and my family has probably always considered myself like the wild card, the black sheep of the family. I'm a rebel, man. I'm the kid that my mom was just like, listen, I'm just tired, y'all. She's not bleeding, she's not dead. No, I'm kidding, but they disciplined me, and I just think I was always just curious and ready to just blossom. I was always ready to just open up and just, just be this. What is the world? What is, what's going to happen, so I'm fearless, and I think that is what partly, my parents let me find my way. They didn't restrict me in any way. And it just so happens that not every decision I made along the way was the right one, but not every decision I made was the wrong one either. So, um, you know, it wasn't anything, world shifting that happened to make me, I didn't get disciplined as much or anything like that.
It's interesting when because I know everyone now watches my interviews and they already they know that I'm gonna go that route. So they're either you got something or you haven't got something. They always want to go down that route. But I always find it intriguing because a tree needs roots.
Hmm.
You wouldn't believe a tree that didn't have no roots. So
Right.
there's no way we can get to a dark side without there being some type of roots. Sometimes our traumas are not the craziest traumas. Not everyone's trauma is the world falling and caving in. But
Hmm.
sometimes our traumas are very tiny. They are little tiny moments, right? Like for instance, when you just said I was an oh baby, and I said oops, you was like no, I was an oh baby. That in itself sometimes can be its own little trauma. Not because you're necessarily crazy. And the word trauma gets kind of has a bad rep. Trauma just means a point of stress. It means
Yeah.
when you are stressed. So it doesn't have to be the craziest thing, right? So I'm saying I get the dark side. I've got a dark side, but I'm also going to tell you that there's a root to it. I know where it's coming from. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to understand where is this coming from for Alexis. What was happening for you in your younger days? Because I mean, I don't want to jump ahead. I want to be able I want to see if we can get there. Do you get what I'm saying?
No, I'm good with and I think honestly, I would keep it a bug. I think you might be reading a little bit too much into it. uh
Maybe.
literally, I'm literally trying to think of any instance where other than, like I'm saying, like just wanting to be, I'm hard-headed, I'm stubborn. If you tell me that there's something that, you shouldn't do that, or you can't do that, or something like that, then I'm gonna go and prove to you why I can, or why that's not the case. Or, I'm just, nothing happened for me to say, for me to realize I have a dark side. It's just more so as I, yin and yang. There's an up and a down. There's a left and a right for everything. So if I'm light, I'm also dark. You know what I mean? And just being able to recognize it is, like I said, the thing is to just being knowing when you're in that energy. You know.
So let me read into it a bit more then.
If you will.
Might as well, because we're here. So obviously, like you said, right? So I think you eloquently put us on, right?
Mhm.
And so you was talking obviously about like for instance saying the O, and you just a minute ago just gave us a really good example of my brain is even just gone because you just literally said it and I was holding it in my head.
You good?
The example you just gave, sorry, just a minute ago. What you just said an example a second ago about what someone saying to you that, hey, don't do this, and wanting to do it. So when
Mhm.
someone, let's say for instance, let's take us back, right? Because I'm also a
Mhm.
rebel too. So when I see rebels, I know where rebellion comes from. I know where it is, right? So I'm a rebel myself, right? It's part of my lifestyle and it's part of what I am, right? So for you, when you heard, okay, you can't do this, Alexis. Let's say, Alexis, you can't go there. You can't do it, Alexis. When you heard that, what was your reaction and why was that your reaction?
So let me be clear. My parents, from my parents' perspective or my family, they've never said like to me, Lexi, you can't. That's never
Okay.
been like the case. You know, Lexi, you can't do that. Like in terms of we don't believe you can achieve that. Now, like they may have said, Lexi, you can't do that now. Like let's think about this. It may have been more so on that side, but I think since we're digging deeper into it, I think I would say realizing I have a dark side or this side that is rebellious, is more so because I think because of how I look, people want me to be a certain type of way. You know, as soon as you meet me, you see me, you think I'm supposed to be probably the ditzy airhead that is just going to be kind and loving and I love everybody and that's the roses and champagne and whatever. And it kind of, you know, makes you want to show people, hey, listen, I have a brain. I'm more than just, you know, what it is that you're seeing. And so because of that, I'm going to go and I'm going to try and explore as much as I can explore and achieve as much as I can achieve so that I can culture myself as much as I can so that nobody can ever mistake me for something that I'm not. You're not going to mistake me for just oh, she's there because she's a beautiful girl. No, that's not the case. So if anything, I would say the rebellion probably more so came from that being always people expecting me to be a certain type of way. And the moment I step outside of whatever narrative they've drawn up of me, then, oh, now I'm going to treat you a certain type of way. And here comes the meanness and the disrespect and the whoa, whoa, whoa. I'm kind and all those things, but that's not what we're going to do. So I think it may be more so rooted in people wanting or expecting you to be a certain type of way or stuck up and that's not the case. And now I have to do something to make you who I've already dreamed you up to be.
I think that's a beautiful, beautiful kind of breakdown. What's the frustration behind people boxing you in, though? Like, if they say, like, for instance, if I say to you, Alexis, you're a baddie, that's it. What's the frustration behind that?
That's frustrating. Like, even like growing up playing sports, like, oh, you cute. Oh, you smart. Oh, you can't hoop. You know what I mean? Like, oh, really? Watch this. You know what I mean? But it's frustrating because people will put whatever it is that they want to put on you and expect for you to just be okay with it. You know what I mean? So if anything, like I said, I think it would be more so people having expectations of me without allowing me to introduce myself that would make me rebel and say, okay, you know, you think I'm this way, I'm gonna show you why I'm not that way. You know? So, but yeah, as far as trauma, I wouldn't chalk it up to trauma. Or, you
That could
know,
be
and I
that
know
could
that's
be
kind of like, I guess I don't know why that word kind of triggers me. But
because that's
I
trauma in
don't know.
itself.
But I don't know, but it's not trauma. Like, well,
Why
I
don't you want
think
to call it
my
trauma?
surgeries and stuff probably was trauma for me, I think. Um,
I mean, that's a very. I think. So what I'm hearing is what a lot of people do this, right? So you're not the only one who does this, right? We chop up trauma to being a very huge event because we like to. A lot of times, we especially those of us who are quote unquote strong, if you want to call it that, we tend to try and minimalize the smaller things, right? We minimalize them and say almost like when you hear men saying, "I haven't got no time to break down." It's like unless this thing is a huge thing, unless somebody's died, don't even see me cry. Like,
yeah.
but actually, that in itself is trauma. when you're not able to, I'm not saying use this your perspective, I'm just saying in itself, these little things actually become part of the trauma. They're stresses on the body or the mind, right? So if you're saying to me that, look, when you are, when you go to, let's say for instance, you go and play basketball, and the first thing you're being called is, yeah, you're cute, you're this and that, and then they have no other esteem or any other estimation of you, right? And they box you in. Your natural response is to, I'm going to show you. But
Yeah.
that also becomes a stress, because actually what the reason why you're going to show them is because you're getting stressed in that moment. Like, we all have our own. I got my own. I don't like being told what to do. That's my thing, right? But that in itself becomes a little bit of its own stress, right? Where you're consistently having to, I've been fighting all my life. So maybe not in necessarily the home,
Yeah.
but you might have been fighting outside of the home. But also you got an 8-year gap as well. Oh no, 4-year gap, you said, between your sister and you, and then 8 years between
Yeah.
your brother, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yes, when I say about stresses, it's not necessarily that we can change the word trauma. Let's take the word trauma away from it. Let's say stresses, right? Let's say, some of the things you have to try and prove, right? They become quite heavy on us, especially because you can't change your face. Your face is your face. So if you appear and you appear in a room, every single time you appear in a room,
Yeah.
you've got to show everybody that you're not that. That is stress.
It's like you have to be turned on. You know what I mean? And you have to be expected to be you have to expect it to be on at all times. You're not, it's almost like and they gonna eat me up in the comments like they've been eating me up anyway. But like when it comes to like pretty privilege, you know what I mean? Like, you're not allowed to have a bad day. You're not allowed to, because now you're stuck up. You're not allowed to be opinionated, because now who do you think you are? You're not allowed to be overly happy because, oh, she's fake. You know what I'm saying? So I think stressors, being told for so long, like, oh, you're way too girly and too pretty to be a basketball player. I don't like to be boxed in or to be made felt like I'm being restricted in any way. Whether that's how you view me or physically or whatever. I like routine, but I don't like restriction, if that makes sense. You
I hear
know,
you saying.
yeah, I just don't like to be, you can't just, I mean, I'm a human being. You can't just check boxes off and that's it.
I'm going to take the conversation somewhere. So this is one I always find this intriguing, right? Is it because a lot of people have, and I studied a little bit of what we call female competitions, very different from men. We do different things when we're competing. Obviously, you mentioned pretty privilege. How did you handle being pretty privileged? Because I know a lot of people in the audience also, I know America and race is very different to how it is in the UK, but we have some similarities. Did that also play a role? Did you notice any of that kind of stuff growing up? Because again, pretty privilege, being of a lighter hue as well, that can play a lot of into certain scenarios and dynamics, into friendships and relationships and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Did that play a role in you growing up at all for yourself?
I wouldn't say I noticed it. I probably didn't notice it growing up. You have to understand, growing up, I was in this blissful little bubble, just this blissful little family bubble where I didn't realize that there were people who didn't have both mom and dad at home. I didn't realize that there were people who weren't eating and doing all of these things. So a lot of things I was literally oblivious to until you get older and you start to see things happen more and more. And then you can apply it and say, oh, this must be because of XYZ. So growing up, I would say it wasn't probably until I was like maybe not even in high school. Like, I got along with everybody. Like, I wasn't a bully or just a nobody. You know what I mean? But we had a very small school. We all grew up together, so You just didn't really know. I think I didn't notice it more so until I was an adult and in corporate America and starting to
Okay.
realize how people are like, um, oh, so you're the, people introducing themselves as, oh, so you're the new young pretty manager, or whatever the case it may have been at the time, and it's almost like that precedes you, and so people kind of draw the line there and go, okay, any type of accolades or anything that she's getting, it must be because she's pretty. And so I didn't really start to see it more so until adulthood, really. Like childhood, I didn't really, or I didn't notice it, I would say. Yeah.
That's fair. So obviously, then, growing up, like you said, going into relationships,
Hmm.
dating.
Hmm.
Talk to me. First love.
Ooh, embarrassing. First love.
Embarrassing. What?
Yeah, my first love. I um I'm not gonna name his name, but my first
That's cool.
love was in high school, or what I thought was love. For at the time, it was love at the time. You know what I mean? But yeah, my first love in high school. It was quickly lived. And interestingly enough, I've never been just big on calling someone like my boyfriend or my man. I think too, because growing up, like, you tell your parents you're dating somebody and they go, that's your little friend. That's just your little friend. That ain't serious. And we not even finna take that serious and play into that. Y'all can drop you off at the movies here and there, or, go to prom together, but baby, that's your little friend. So it wasn't until probably college that I really was like in my first real relationship. It was, yeah, that was love. That was actually love. He bought me a dog, and
He bought your dog.
yeah, he bought me a dog. He bought me a little Yorkie at the time.
Damn. He was on
Yeah, he
deep.
was. Yeah, we were college sweethearts. We were in love. He's married with 3 kids and everything now, but he was a good guy. We went our separate ways. I think we were just really young. And at the time, his life was really taking off in a really different direction, and I just wasn't sure where I wanted to go with my life. So that ended. After that, I've had a few boyfriends. I had an off and on relationship that lasted more on than off for about 5 years. We lived together for about a year. The last year or so, we were together, and that was probably like my realest relationship to date. I've had situations here and there, but it takes me a while to be like, you're my man. You know what I mean? Like I'm not just throwing it out there so easily like
Why
that.
not?
So I think because my parents have been married for so long, and again with my grandparents, and just with how I view marriage in general, I've always viewed relationships as serious. And so the ones that I know that this is just, you know, for a good time, not a long time, like, let's not label this. Let's not put we're together on this. Like, you're not my ex, we're just kicking it. So yeah, I'm not big on the whole title relationship, like, let's be boyfriend and girlfriend. Like, mm, if I feel like it's gonna be serious, then we can do that. But if not, matter of fact, forget you knew me after this. If it's just, some fun, some things to do for fun. So yeah.
That's interesting.
You trying to read me, man.
Okay. So talk to me. What's been your most serious relationship, and why? Why was it serious for you?
Um, the relationship that I was in, that was for about 5 years or so.
Okay.
I thought I was gonna you know, we met really young. We met when I initially moved to Dallas, and I had just turned 25 when I moved
Okay.
to Dallas. Just turned 25. And we met a little while after I moved here. And we were just two peas in a pod at first. You know, we were young, we were having fun. I think we realized like very early on, like this wasn't just a fun thing, like, you know, a short-term thing. And so, you know, turned into about 5 years. It was a, it was a, ugh, I want to be respectful as
Okay.
possible.
Mm.
It wasn't the time when we weren't living together was better than when we were living together. Um, I think by the time we moved in together, it I think we were on two different pages. I think we had grown in two different directions. Um, and it just was not healthy. So,
Mm.
um, you know, I actually, when it came to that relationship, we were just fussing so much and just over any and everything. And I remember, you know, praying, and I was like, God, if this is, you know, not what you want for me, then I need like a slap in the face sign. Like, tell me, whoever is not, you know, if this is not where you want me to be, whoever
Mm.
is not in my life for the right reasons, if it hurts me and you have to remove them, then I'm ready for it. And within 3 months, I lost what I consider one of my best friends for, you know, about 15 years, and had broken up. I just remember what I think was my discernment more so than God's voice, was just saying like, leave, leave, leave.
Mm.
And so I didn't understand it. I didn't want to. It hurt, you know what I mean? But I knew I had to. And when I did, like all my anxiety, all of my stress, my worry, when I lost those two people, or then when they lost me, you know, I instantly saw my life just get better. And
Mm.
so I knew that as much as it hurt me, I had to, I can't go back to something I prayed my way out of. So, um, yeah, that was all she wrote for my longest standing relationship. When it was good, it was good. But when it was bad, it was tumultuous. So, yeah.
It sounds like that relationship really rocked you. Um,
Yeah. Oh,
yeah,
yeah. Oh,
because
yeah.
it wasn't your answers; it was actually your body language. Like
Mm.
that situation really
It
it
cut me
spoke some
deep.
things to you. So, what was shaken? Because something was shaken. The way you're describing it, it's like something was shaken. So, what was shaken in Alexis through that relationship?
Um, I think, you know, women, we're really good at convincing ourselves of things. You know what I'm saying? We're really good about ignoring the facts and going straight to an emotional stance on a lot of situations. And I think I found myself in a situation where I ignored clear signs, I ignored clear flags, clear red flags. And I did it because I'm gonna do it anyway, because you tell me that this isn't something I should do. And my parents did not approve of me shacking up and doing all that. But I'm grown. I love him. I'm gonna do what I want to do, mom. You know, I'm an adult. I take care of myself. This is what I want to do. And you get in these situations and you convince yourself that this is what you want and that this is the route you need to take. And then reality slaps you in the face, and you're frustrated with yourself. You are embarrassed that your parents told you so and they're always right. You know, But I just realized that the man that I had once thought that this was the man that I prayed for, realizing that that's not the case is like, oh man, yeah. It's like finding out Santa isn't real. You know what I mean? Like, what have I done with the past 5 years? You know, what have we been doing? So yeah, I had to exit.
Okay. And then you mentioned obviously as well, like obviously, I know you said obviously a couple of, I mean, I've been in situationships, so I'm a
I've been in
situationship, I
those.
can't lie to you.
I was in a situationship right before I went on the show, which was
Situationship?
not the driving force of me doing the show, but was kind of like, ooh, I'm so sick of men. Like, I'm done. Screw it. Why not? Like, why not do this? It's an opportunity. Why not? That situationship, but right before I went on the show was, ooh, I was like, I've had it up to here with you Negroes. I've had it up to here. Yeah, for sure.
When you say you've had it up to here, what do you mean you've had it up to here? What's going on that you've had it up to here with us Negroes? What have the men have been doing?
I love black men. I love black men, but sometimes y'all really be taking us there, like to the point where it's just like it's frustrating to be like, if you know that if I've been upfront and open and honest with you about everything from day one, about my feelings and my emotions, not overbearing, not like in a weird way, in a a weird looking through your window way. But if I've put my cards out on the table and we're at this grown ass age and you can't open up your mouth and say, that's not really what I'm looking for. And you can't be man enough to say, listen, I know that this is what you're looking for, but that's not what I want. And because of that, I think we should just be friends. I don't want to pursue you romantically anymore. But men don't do that. Men will be like, she cute. I like her. She cool. But I'm still in these streets. So I'm going to just string you along and breadcrumb you until you get frustrated and just say, you know what, enough is enough. Like, leave me alone. Stop disturbing my peace. I was frustrated. I was completely frustrated with men before I went on this show. I was over it.
See, now you got my spider senses tingling. You know what I mean? You got my spider senses tingling now, Alexis, right?
I'm gonna stop talking now.
Yeah, you gonna get the. Okay, listen. Okay, so let's have a real conversation. Because funny enough, I was reading Genesis 2 and Genesis 3 all over again, right? And I was asking God for revelation of that. I love Genesis. Why I love Genesis is because there's a lot of gems in there between Adam and his creation and relationships, right? And one of the concepts that I've come into contact with is the mirror concept, right? See, Adam saw all the different animals, but none of them were a suitable helpmeet, right? Till he met the mirror. When he met the mirror, he realized this is the bone of my bone, the flesh of my flesh. Because when he was looking at the animals, what was coming back to him was not reflecting what was actually what he saw in himself. When men finally see the woman that they actually love and they care for and they want to be with, it's because they see themselves in that woman. Now, whether it's good or bad, because a lot of us are broken, so sometimes the mirror we're looking back at too is actually a broken image. But the same can be said for also the woman too, right? Because in order for her to make a choice in terms of choosing a partner, she is reflecting what she sees in the other party, right? So she looks at the other party and goes, something about you speaks to me. There's something about you that speaks to me. So the key question we need to ask at this point in conjuncture is, Alexis, what was in these men that was speaking to you that you wanted to entertain them?
If we're being honest, we're being honest
You
to the
can be
max.
honest, baby. Listen, we're here, baby.
I my sisters have always kind of called me a man eater. And I guess I don't have whole lot of serious relationships because I just don't take a whole lot of men seriously. Um, you know what I mean? Like I get the ick really quickly, over silly stuff, and I don't. I'm not just gonna let you pee on my leg and tell me it's raining, and I just go for it. You know what I mean? So I challenge men, but um I'm not aggressive or you know mean or impolite to men. I have a very feminine way of what I kind of think of like breaking a man down and kind of just really seeing what he's about. And a lot of times I realize that he ain't it for me, and so I'm just gonna have my fun and we'll no hard feelings, but you're just not it for me, you know? So yeah, I think it's back to my dark side. When it comes to men, I'm not defensive or anything, but my brother has always given me like the real. He's always been able to just keep it real with me and just keep it completely transparent about men and how y'all think and what it is, and I've just always have seen those things in men and been like, yep, I've already know your type. Yep, nope, keep it moving. Nope, you're not the one for me. But when it came to like my exes and types of people that I deal with, I don't know. I think I see I'm a Mississippi pimp. You know what I mean? I can see it. I know a playboy a mile away when I see one because I used to be a little bit of a player. You know what I mean? I'll charm your pants. Not charm your pants off. That's probably not the right term to use, but I'm a charmer. You know what I mean? I'll have you laughing and flirting and doing all those things, and then when I'm done flirting with you, when I'm bored with it, like, all right, move around.
Now
So
we're
yeah.
getting somewhere.
Go ahead.
No, now we're getting somewhere. See, now I'm starting to see you, Alexis.
It only took what, an hour and a
Oh,
half.
actually, before that, but you gotta let people talk.
You
You
gotta
know
let
what
them
I'm saying?
talk.
Said you gotta
I
take your
haven't
time
seen.
with it.
I haven't. I'm so glad I cut the comments off because I would have been like squirrel distracted.
And I'm
Yeah.
glad you did because it means we can have a real good conversation.
Mhm.
So let's break this down a little bit here, so we can get a bit more better understanding of where you're coming from. You said to me,
Mhm.
man eater, bit of a player, okay, um, and so you get bored easily with certain men. You need a certain level of a type of man, right?
Yeah.
You need a certain type of caliber of man that can handle you. My question is this:
I won't. I don't. I don't like when people say a man that can handle you, because
That's
if
fair.
you need a man to be able to handle you, like, you're not an animal. Like, animals need handling. It's not if a man can handle me. It's if we are compatible. You know. But go ahead. I'm sorry. I
No, no,
digress.
no. Listen, I'm not mad at it. I appreciate the correction. It means we can have a more accurate conversation. So let's say, a man that like I said, I like to say maybe matches you. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
gonna ask a question direct to the point.
Hmm.
When has a man ever that you've dated actually seen through the facade that you put on? When has a
True.
man actually got to pass the beauty to the mind of Alexis? When's the last time a man has
Oh,
really got to that place and understood you?
several times. There's um I can almost in a braggadocious way say there's only a handful of men that can say they know the real Alexis. They can say, I know Alexis for real, and this is XYZ. Are you asking me who that was or when that was?
I think it's more like, have you ever experienced that where somebody
Oh
is
yeah.
has got past?
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm not made of stone. You know
I
what
don't
I'm
think you
saying?
are made of stone.
So several, I would say, maybe three guys have really broken my walls down and really gotten through to my, you know, just my true soft feminine, just completely submissive side for sure. I can be tamed.
I believe you can. I believe there's a missing piece here though. Big, and this is why I wanted to have this conversation, because I think there's a really big missing piece here. Like I said, I came from the streets last 3 years in the streets, right? So I know exactly what it takes to be on these streets, and I know the kind of women that I meet on these streets, because they're a reflection of myself, right? So when we're talking about relationships and talking about how we move, right? Anybody who's played the game, anybody that plays the game very, very well, there's an emotional disconnect.
Oh, I can 1000% tell you, I will emotionally detach like that.
Now,
I
do you
am
see?
able
Do you see?
to
Do you not see that's a bit of a
compartmentalize.
problem?
I mean, obviously it's a problem because I'm single. Obviously. But yeah, that probably is if you want to call it a flaw, and I would call it a flaw. I can emotionally detach in a heartbeat, and just
That's not a flaw.
compartmentalize people, and um I can compartmentalize things and people, and just like that. You know, once you put yourself in a certain position in my life, oh, you can just as quickly as you were put there, you can be taken out of too. So yeah, detaching, oh, that's easy. Yeah. I yeah. You won't see me sub, or I'm not, if I'm a add an ex or talk about an ex, I won't even say your name, baby. But yeah, detaching, that's nothing to me. And not just like, and I think it's because I'm so secure in my village and my circle. I know how solid the people that I'm associated with are. So if you're not in that circle, you're outside of it, and you know, whatever.
Now, Alexis.
What?
Now we're getting somewhere.
now we get into the
Now
nitty.
we're digging deep here now. All right.
Yeah.
Because let me bring a little bit of light to the situation. I also can detach very easily. You know what they
Hmm.
call that? An avoidant attachment.
Hmm.
When you are able to discard of people very easily and get rid of easily, enough, yeah, I'm good. I can get rid of you easy. It usually is an avoidant attachment. And avoidant attachments happen when there is emotional neglect. See, when you told me the story about everything growing up was perfect, I said, no, but I'll let you go on, because something for you was happening. I'm not saying that your parents did anything bad per se. I'm saying
Yeah.
to you that something for Alexis was happening, because rebels usually are of that avoidant attachment style, and usually it's because they've been emotionally neglected, meaning whatever needs you actually really needed wasn't being given. So it doesn't mean that your parents were necessarily bad. It's just that they might have not been able to meet your need of what you actually needed. You might have needed something different from what your siblings needed. You might have needed a specific type of attention that you may not have been able to voice out effectively. And so
Hmm.
when you become this, when you get into that space of that emotional neglect, you learn how to put your emotions aside, and you say, you know what? I don't worry about that. I just need to do what I need to do, which is where you're probably, very and if we know anything about also about how some of this trauma works too, is that you become very good at business, at sports, at things that are
Hmm.
high achieving, because you're not putting your emotions into it. You're able to put that aside in order to achieve the goal. And
Hmm.
so I'm not surprised that you're very good at the things that you do. But the reality of the situation is, when you were explaining about discarding people very easily, and being a player, and you can do this kind of things, and that is a quintessential person who's coming from an avoidant attachment, and avoidant comes because they're emotionally neglected. So that's why I asked you the question about who has got past the guard. But then if we're going to take it further back, because you said about being the darkness inside of you, I also know the darkness inside of me. I'm very self-aware, but that comes
Hmm.
because you've had to put your emotions aside for such a long time. You become aware that you've put it aside, and you've learned that
Hmm.
that's not going to be handled. So I can't afford to live life on that stage. And it also breeds hyper independence, which breeds the
Yeah, I
rebellion.
am hyper independent. Yeah, for sure.
There you go. Because you've learned how to say, if I rely on the person's meant to care for me, they're not gonna give what I need. So I become hyper independent to my own needs. So when someone does eventually tell me what to do, we're like, not unless you're wiser than me, and not unless you're wiser than me, and not unless I actually fully and I'm not saying you don't respect anybody. I'm just saying this in general. Not unless it has to be something like, let's say for instance, in your business, unless this person has the acumen that you totally respect, you'll be like, well, I'm gonna go my own way. I'm gonna try it my own way. And the reason why is because you don't trust people's judgment for you, because you have not lived in a space of being safe emotionally in that space. So now what happens is you're born rebellious. No one is born a rebellious person. That comes through nurturing, and when you have not been nurtured in the right way. So that's why I was saying to you that there's more to the story, that it's not a big trauma. It's not a huge, something that's crazy happened to you. It's the little things. And I think that's why I was asking that question, because I was like, I wonder who's actually heard Alexis. And I'm talking about the young Alexis, because it sounded like Alexis just wanted to be heard, maybe even seen. But more times, anger is usually linked to not being able to express yourself and not being heard very well. So we get angry.
I think it
But
would
go
be
on.
more so, not so much as just anger. You guys saw me have an angry moment. I'm not an angry person. You know what I mean? I'm actually quite the opposite. You know what I mean? So, you can't, I don't think people should take one moment, excuse me, and associate and apply that to my entire personality, right? But in terms of when we're talking about emotional neglect, not even emotional neglect, I think it's more so, and I'll give you just a little background. I mean, I don't know how much you know about, Southern upbringings, but in a Southern household, you can feel how you want to feel, but you're not going to disrespect your mother and your father. You're not going to be talking back. You're not going to be so. It's not. Uh, I don't think it's more. It's emotionally neglected or not being able to express, but it's more so you can express yourself, but you better do it with some sense. You know what I mean? You better do it with some regard for who you're talking to. So it's not like a strict, uh, you know, you get a beating in a Southern household for doing this. I just grew up in a very traditional household where kids stay out of grown folks' business. You need to, you go and you talk amongst the kids, and when we want your opinion, which is probably not going to be often, especially when we're talking about adult things or just things in general, you stay in your child's place. So I wouldn't say
How did you feel about that?
emotionally neglected. Looking at how kids are raised nowadays versus kind of how that's what you're taught growing up in a Southern household usually. I look at kids all the time and like, damn, y'all probably wouldn't have y'all would have had some sad days coming up, growing up, how most of the people I knew was around growing up. Oh, you mom ordered you something else to eat because you didn't want that. Oh, what privilege. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just grew up in a mom and daddy got enough worried about. They don't need they kids who are literally depending on them for everything, voicing their stupid 10-year-old opinion about because you had a bad day at school. You know what I mean? I just think kids should stay in kids' places.
You
Um,
just did it. You just did it, Alexis. You just did it right there, right there.
your
You just did
analysis.
right there.
What
Beautiful
was it?
chef's kiss. I just wanted to rewind slightly,
Okay.
right? What you just said is and this is why I said about mirroring. When we date people, we find our mirrors, right? What you just said was beautiful, right? Because you highlighted exactly how you feel about you when you were younger. When you're describing it, you said kids are young, nobody wants to hear, your stupid little thing at your young little age. yeah, but when the child wants to be heard, their idea is not their point of view is not stupid. So in that moment, that child is now not being validated. And that's where the neglect happens. The neglect is not a child being left alone. It's when that child is not being heard or seen, right? So if, for instance, you got an opinion as a 5-year-old, maybe you were a bit too smart. Maybe you were one of the people that asked too many questions. Yeah, maybe you're a bit too bright.
I was talkative. Yeah.
You're talkative, okay, right? So if you're talkative, right? If you're a talkative young child, right? And your parents like, and I'm not saying this happened. I'm just giving an example, right? Your parents like listening, but then they're like, oh, I'm not really listening, and they're not really paying attention, or then they're like, oh, shh, just you talk too much, or it's a bit too much, or this doesn't make sense, this is silly, right? What you don't realize is you're not being validated as a young child. The child is going to learn through those instances that they're not being heard. What happens to that child? Anger is actually all it is a frustration of a goal not being able to be met or boundaries being crossed. In this instance, a child not being heard, their frustration is they're not being heard. So what happens? Well, you got to internalize that. You got to internalize that. So now you turn on yourself. And in order for yourself not to shut down, you have to put those feelings away. And this is when you said that line about nobody really wants to hear what the kid is saying, well, that's a perfect example of a child being emotionally neglected. A child needs to be heard, even with a silly story. It needs to be heard because that child really needs to be able to say that, hey, I got a safe place to share my thoughts and feelings, and you know what I mean? But yeah, go for it.
I think I agree to a certain extent. I also feel like a lot of times kids know better than what they put on, and I just feel like I can honestly tell you I don't feel like I was emotionally neglected or unheard, or like if I said something I was going to be told to shut up. That's never the case, like growing up. But again, there's a certain level of respect that I think has just been instilled in me that I'm 33 years old, and if I say a curse word around my mom, I'm still like, "Ooh, I'm sorry, mama." I'll try and clean it up a little bit. It's just a certain things that traditionally speaking in a Southern household, but we could call it trauma. We could call it what was the other word? Stressors.
Stressors, yeah.
Stressors. You can paint it how you want to paint it. I didn't feel neglected emotionally. I didn't feel like I wasn't able to have my emotional needs met. Like I said, everything that I went through, everything that molded me, aside from my child, of course, your foundation is always your foundation. Train up a child in the way they should go, and when they're older, they will not depart. Right? But throughout that journey, you have to go out there and learn some stuff on your own. So again, everything that I could say has turned me onto or made me able to recognize my dark or whatever side has been self-inflicted. Just me just want to do what I want to do. That's all. I could be doing my trauma responses and sweeping it under the rug, but that's just, genuinely how I feel.
Listen, I totally hear you. And listen, it'll be a conversation for another time. I only highlight these things because, I highlight these things because a lot of times people, especially as Black people, like for instance, the word emotional neglect, nobody wants to think of their parent as emotionally neglective. So immediately when I say that, it shuts people down. But if I also don't put the right word in, we also won't understand how the behavior gets there. No child is a product of just suddenly becoming something, right? There's no child like that. Like things happen to that child that push that child into a particular type of behavior, except the ones that maybe, the spawn of Satan. But you know what I mean? But most of us are not spawns of Satan, right? So most of us are a byproduct of decisions that have been made. And a lot of times people that are emotionally neglected are not able to even see what emotional neglect is, because as soon as they heard the word neglect, they're like, my parent didn't leave me. I didn't say your parent left you. What I said was your feelings were not being taken into account, and you explained it when you gave an example, and that example is why I was highlighting emotional neglect. It does not mean your parent is the worst parent in the world or whatever. It's simply the fact that the child needed something and was unable to voice that feeling was needed, and was unable to, and was not giving it. But again, that's me just explaining. That doesn't mean that has to be you. That doesn't have to be your situation. You have to take that on. I'm just reflecting what I'm hearing. Do you get what I'm saying to you? So,
Yeah.
But anyway, we can leave that there.
Yeah.
Because you came for Ready to Love, so not a therapy course. You know what I'm saying to you. But I'm gonna give it anyway. But yes, you obviously you went on to Ready to Love. So
Yeah.
I want to know what took Alexis onto Ready to Love. I know you kind of said it a little bit in terms of the man them weren't really pulling their weight. But what was that the only reason why you wanted to go on Ready to Love?
Ultimately, yes. I'll be again, we're gonna keep everything. We've been starting out, we started out with the truth, we're gonna keep it the truth. I wasn't really like a fan of the show, honestly. My sisters, and when I say sisters plural, because I don't consider my sister-in-law my sister-in-law. That's my sister too. We're that close. My sisters kind of watched the show off and on a little bit. And of course, I tell them everything, and they knew that I was kind of in this space where I had just gotten out of this situationship, and I just needed a change of guy that was, at least I knew that the guys here were so-called ready to find their person, at least. Maybe not so much as like fall in love on the show, but at least they're putting themselves out there to say, I'm ready for some type of commitment. And so they had seen the application online, and they sent it to me. I was actually in Australia working, and they kept spamming me with it. And I was just finally like, you know what, fine. Like, let me see what this is. And so I think the little app was like, send in some headshots and a 1-minute video, whatever it was. So I did it. I didn't really think much of it. Months had gone by since I had sent this app in, and I'm just like, out of mind, out of sight, out of mind type thing. And then they finally called back, and yeah, I was like, okay, so I guess I'm gonna do a dating show. You know what I mean? So I started to watch the show a little bit, kind of like trying to see exactly like what am I, kind of getting myself into. And so at the very least, I was like, my intentions are to come in here and to find someone that I'm compatible with, that I get along with, that I'm attracted to, that checks majority of my boxes. I'm not looking for everything to be checked, but a good bit, a good 80% of them, you know what I mean, of my boxes. And so I was just excited. I'm like, this is the opportunity of a lifetime. Let me go try this. Let me go, just see if I find somebody.
Oh, okay. So obviously, you know what you're looking for. You get on the show. Obviously, this season they've split up, so it's quite different.
Mm-hmm.
So your cohorts, I guess, in your section. I like to ask, who was the first person that your eye was drawn to? You know what I mean? Like who caught your eye, and if nobody, then who? Then if nobody, then who did you connect with first?
So just off just first glance, right? Because as easily as I am to detach, like I have a really deep side and I have a really shallow side too. You know what I mean? And so initially when you meet somebody, it's your shallow self that is making the scan, right? So as amazing and as wonderful as majority of the men, the cast of men were, there was nobody there that would be my usual physical type just off of first glance, first scan. I'll be honest and say I wasn't physically attracted to anybody initially. Yeah. So
here. Is that on both sides then? Both when you met the other group as well? Was that the same perspective?
And again, I want to be respectful with this because I don't feel like I would label any of the men as ugly.
I get what you're saying. Yeah, just not your type.
Right. None of them are unattractive. They're all very attractive in their own rights. Absolutely. But just for me, my physical type wasn't there.
What's your physical type?
If I could do like my ideal man, I like men that kind of look like me a little bit. I like tall, light skin, brown skin type men with, great smile, facial hair, nice athletic build. I like men that have my look, I guess. That's what I prefer.
No matter it.
Yeah.
I'm with it. All right. Yeah, I like that. No, I'm not mad at it. I respect that.
Like Boris Kojo for me is like my Sistine Chapel. So yeah, Boris Kojo does it for me.
Yeah. Oh, I think I have him on speed dial. Give him a quick message and let you know.
Holla at him for me, Kojo. But he's married though. I ain't no disrespect to Nicole, but she got her one.
Someone's married partner, so you can find your life partner. Okay, that's fair. Okay, so obviously then, so obviously, like I said, I appreciate you sharing that because that's real stuff. So who then were you connecting with? Like who did you connect with on the show? Because I know we saw a couple of connections, but I know you kind of connected a little bit with Dom. I saw a little bit of connection at the beginning with Jonathan. We saw a little bit with Will as well. But okay, so tell us who your connections were. And why you connected with each individual person. What was it about them that you connected with?
Okay. So Will was probably my strongest connection. And I'll tell you why. Will right off the bat was very open, very kind, very warm. To me, he you have to understand that we're people for the most part. I can't say all of the cast. Don't have experience in TV. But for the most part, most of us are fresh off the street in so many terms, and you're sticking 5-6 cameras in our face, and there's going to be a lot of anxiety. So I noticed, because I was really anxious the whole show. I noticed a little bit of anxiety in Will, and so I kind of just connected with him on that. That like we could tell we're both nervous. We don't really kind of know how this is going to play out. But Will was the first guy that like pursued me on the show. He actually pursued me, and what I mean by that is he got my phone number. He was calling. We were exchanging calls and texts. And I can honestly say that for a while there, you hear these things. Oh, so-and-so said he like you. Oh, so-and-so said he like you. Well, when is he going to tell me? Because he's had opportunities to get my phone number, to call me, to talk to me, to do whatever. So when was I going to find out he was interested? You know what I mean? I can't just be hearing that's what, oh, well, that's what the word is. Okay, well, I ain't hear that. So I don't know about that connection. You know what I mean? Will actually pursued me. We actually had conversations, long conversations. And so I think that's what made us connect, is that I noticed a little bit of that anxiety in him as well, and was like, okay, we're kind of helping each other work through it on our first day. And, he's actually pursuing.
All right, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah.
So obviously Will was one of them. And
so Will was one. Dom was another connection. And Dom, his time on the show, he kind of he was we kind of we had a great conversation that first night. That we met, we had a fantastic conversation. Dom is like, he's so easy to talk to. He's just really easy to talk to, and I think you got to get a little bit of get used to Dom's kind of humor and his personality. Because he'll say something and he'll have a straight face, and you'll think, oh, he's serious, and then he'll kind of like laugh it off, and it's like, oh, okay, he's just kidding. But me and Dom had a great conversation that first night, and then he kind of had some things where he just wasn't going on as many dates. He was, someplace else dealing with some family things, I believe. And so we weren't able to just build that connection like I would have liked. But yeah, as far as like connections and personality goes, all the guys had great personalities, all of them. William, the tall William, he's one of the coolest people to me on the cast. He was genuine. So we had a connection that was more so, I think we both realized that it wasn't romantic, but more so platonic. Like we could be, like we could really be good friends to each other. William's a really good guy. And then as far as Jonathan goes, like I didn't know Jonathan liked me, and Jonathan's a great guy. He's a handsome guy. Jonathan is handsome, and he caught my eye at the second brunch. But Jonathan, it didn't show signs, in my opinion, that he was interested. So when I found out that he was like actually interested in me, I was like, where did this come from? You know what I mean? Like, how long have you been interested? Because we've been on a few dates and you have yet to like really actually pursue me. Like I get it's a TV show, but like this is my real life. Like this how you date this is how you show interest. So it was just interesting to see all the different dynamics. But I think I for sure day one, after the second brunch, and I saw all the guys and I got my shallow judgments out of the way, I kind of realized like, yeah, this is a platonic friendships more than anything.
So was the guys' platonic relationships more because they weren't in pursuit? Like you weren't seeing the pursuit that was actually proper. They were kind of saying it, but not saying it, but not doing it in a sense.
For some of the connections, yeah. And then for some of them, it was just like, it's just a no. It's just a no, all around. Physically, personality, it's a no for me. But yeah, I would say, had the ones who said they liked me pursued me more, then connections may have looked a little differently. Because I was really like, you know what? Like I can't do like a Love is Blind type of show because I'm too shallow. If that door opens up and I see somebody that I don't like cut the cameras off. But for me, I was like, you know what? I'm here. These guys have some great personalities. They are great guys. Let me not be so caught up in the physical part of it and really, truly get to know somebody, because my type is not working for me, apparently. You know what I mean? So let me do something different for a change and see if this is something that, not that, again, no, not ugly, just, not what I usually go for. So I was really putting my best foot forward. Like, let me try to make some connections. And then when I realized, like, this is a lot of smoke and mirrors, like, you kind of mentally check out.
All right, I hear that. So obviously, you had some interesting moments on the show. One of them being the beef with the ladies, some of the ladies, KOSHIEA and MIEKA. And I'm going to return back to the gentleman in a second. The beef between yourself, KOSHIEA, MIEKA. I want to know from your perspective. Take us from journey A to point B. What happened as to why that got to a point where it's got so heated, and words are exchanged.
Yeah. So from we'll start from the very, very beginning, right? Um, MIEKA inserted herself into this whole code thing, but it wasn't until later that I found out that she was one of the main underlying factors in it, right? So the very first ladies lounge that you guys see, the first two ladies lounges that you guys see were filmed on the same day. Okay, let's put that out there. Filmed on the same day, back to back, right? So we are in one outfit. Boom, they're gonna bring out Justin to meet everybody. That lasts for a few minutes, and then, all right, boom, we're gonna shoot what we're gonna call the first ladies lounge, right? So you change clothes, you go back, you come back out. So prior to this ladies lounge, this was the night that the whole thing, what I considered the starting point was the day of the brunch where everybody meets everybody, where everybody's introduced, right? So the brunch day. So after we were shooting that day, the ladies from the first mixer, we're all in a group chat at this point, right? So one of the ladies started the group chat, put all the ladies in it, and we're all in a group chat. So they hit the group chat and they're like, hey, when this wraps, let's all go out for dinner. Okay, cool. You know what I mean? No big deal, you know? So we all go to dinner, unbeknownst to me during this dinner. Now, at this dinner, it is April, MIEKA, and Co, and myself at this dinner. Off camera, you know, just ladies having a chit chat, a kiki about everything, everybody, right? So unbeknownst to me at this dinner, between one of the three is recording me, right? Is recording this conversation. I'm not told about this, anything. So my first instinct, right, is to say, if I'm going to record you, and we're supposed to be cool at this point, if I'm going to record you, I'm doing it with intentions of potentially catching you saying something that I can use against you later, right? That's just how I view it. So let's fast forward a little bit. We go through the dinner, you know, no problems, whatever, go home. At that ladies lounge, I'm completely blindsided with this information, right? So at this point, let me back up a little bit, because after this dinner, like the next day or something, I get a phone call from one of the guys, and they're like, hey, you know, we starting to hear some things about you, that you're a gold digger, and you gonna be running background checks on people, and you checking in on people and all of this and then the third. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm not paying no monthly fee to be able to run a background check on nobody. It's just that I'm not that invested. I'm just really not, right? So I'm like, what are you talking about, right? So then they started to say some of the things that was said at this dinner. So I'm like, this is oddly specific that you're asking me about XYZ. Now, still to this day, I haven't heard this recording. I haven't heard anybody say, this is, you know, send it to me or anything like that. But these are the words, this is the phone call I get. You're a gold digger. We finna tell everybody about it, blah, 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 from some of the male cast. They're just kind of just like, hey, this is what we heard about you, and trying to figure out how true it is. What were your intentions, right? So once I realized like where this had to come from, I'm like, you know what? I didn't even send what I could have sent. I sent a screenshot, but the screenshot that I sent was literally Cole saying, you know what, Alexis? I think we should take your advice and stop being so negative. I'm going to actually give this process a chance. right? So my screenshot was saying, hey, person who's bringing this to me, this is proof that I'm not being negative here. You know what I'm saying? Let me hear this recording. He, I guess they, everybody's trying to be secretive with this recording, but this is the truth, straight from the horse's mouth, who told you that I was a gold digger, right? This is the truth. I'm literally telling these ladies in this group chat, like, hey, y'all are like super negative. Like, this is disgusting. Y'all are like really talking. Like, I'm not saying all of these things to these ladies, but I'm reading this shit like, this is gross. You know what I mean? Like, y'all are like ripping these guys to shreds, and these guys haven't done a thing to any of you. Just because you're not attracted to them doesn't mean you have to be impolite. It doesn't mean you have to be rude. You know what I mean? Like, you can not like somebody or be attracted to them or only like them in a platonic way and still not completely shit on them. You know what I mean? And so that was just my stance on it. I just realized that this was getting really negative really fast, and I'm just not around those types of people, those types of energies. I don't want anything to do with it. And so instead of continuing to laugh at stuff, I'm just gonna not respond altogether. And so when the information came out that Alexis sent this screenshot, I'm completely blindsided with this information at the ladies' lounge. I wasn't going to bring this up. I wasn't going to bring up that you recorded me off camera without me knowing, to try and get me caught up saying some unfavorable things. I'm not going to bring that to the, like, you know what I mean? I saw you. I see how you are. I see how you move. And I'm just going to move out your way. I'm just going to keep moving. I cleared my name. I defended myself, whatever, have at it. I'm not seeing any of this coming. So Cole brings it up in the ladies' lounge. And then she goes off on this tangent about, she gonna whoop my ass and all this, that, and the third. I find it interesting too. On the very first episode, Cole was from day one ready to jump across the table and snatch my curls out of my head. So who's really violent here? She's had already threatened to rip my curls out of my head on day one because of LARON. And I didn't even say anything bad about LARON. She's ready to beat my ass in this so-called whoop my ass in this ladies' lounge over this childish nonsense. So who's really violent, right? Anyway, let's move on.
Wait, before you move on, just clarify. Sorry. So someone of the opposite gender showed you that. Wait. I was hearing it, but it was incredulous, and I just need to just get a deeper understanding. So one of the girls was saying that they recorded the conversation.
I don't know who it was. I don't know which of the three recorded it, but
you just know that someone said it.
Right.
Because obviously someone's brought the information to you.
Right. So what the ladies did was took this recording to some of the guys and said, hey, listen, Lex is a gold digger. The only reason why she's connecting with Will is because she's going to look into him and see if he's really about what he's talking about. Just trying to find anything, because I can't just be myself and just mind my business. You have to premeditate recording me to try and get me to say something, because what I'm not doing is going back and forth in the text messages about it with you. I'm not giving you what you want from the group text. So now you're going to try and catch me up in the flesh saying it on recording, right? So it's all premeditated. So if you didn't premeditate this, if you didn't have it out for me from day one, why would you record me at dinner that you invited me out to? Let's think about that. What is your other motive other than to try and paint me out or try and catch me saying something? What would be your reason? Do you record all your dinners and conversations that you go out to without people knowing about it? And y'all were supposed to be cool, right? Okay, so at the ladies' lounge, Cole brings it up. She's yelling back and forth. I'm not even gonna go into how I really kind of want to go into it, because Yeah, I'm not gonna do all that. But what I will say,
Oh, wait. Before we get any further, because we need to. Okay, wait. Just want to clarify some things here. Okay, so you don't know who recorded you, right?
I don't know who. To this day, I still don't know whose idea it was to invite me out and to record me during this dinner. I don't know whose idea it was. I do know that there were 3 other ladies there.
Was the screenshot the person showed you, was it accurate to what you said?
Was the screenshot what now?
I mean, what they said to the guys when the guys, whoever the guys was, came back to you and said, "This is what you've said."
No, that's what I'm telling you.
It wasn't accurate at all.
No, I didn't say. At no point in this so-called recording was I ever said to like verbatim say, I'm only connecting with Will because he said he got money, or I in no way led them to think that I wasn't who I said I was, or I was putting on a facade or anything like that. I think because of how the information came about with it being a recording, it made it messy, it made it juicy, it made it something to want to be interested in. You know what I mean? When it really was people plotting and conniving and literally premeditating to try and paint me out or get me caught up saying something. So that's the question I won't answer. Why did you record me when we were allegedly cool at this time? We didn't have an issue at this time. You know what I mean? I hadn't shown any screenshots of the group text to any of the guys at this point. I'm thinking we're cool.
But is there a recording though?
Is there a recording? Allegedly. I haven't heard it to this day still. Okay. So, that's neither here nor there. I think several of the guys said that there is, so, they ain't sent it to me. You know what I mean?
So apparently guys are saying that it's a recording. Did Ko and MIEKA admit to having a recording?
They didn't deny it.
They didn't deny it. Did you ask them direct and they didn't deny it, or?
I didn't ask them directly, but do I need to directly ask you? Are you a conniving dirtbag to your face?
No, I mean, you probably asked if you got a recording of me. That would probably be the more, like, you know what I mean?
That was the thing. I wasn't going to bring it I wasn't going to bring it in front of the cameras, which is why I'm telling you I was blindsided by this. You know.
Oh, she's there. Wait, it's come back. Sorry. Yeah, you're good.
Is it good?
Yeah, you're back. Sorry.
Production obviously knows about it to some degree because they allowed it to be said and to be aired, right? So I feel blindsided. Everybody knew about this but me, that this was going to come out but me, because if this was the case, I could have prepared myself and said, well, let's hear the recording. You know what I mean? And also, they edited a lot of that argument out. When Ko got up to cry, that had nothing to do with me. That was completely her and Patrice having a little back and forth about Alonzo and the whole choke and spank. So when they aired that, and it made it look like Ko got up and cried and was so emotional because of our interaction, bull crap. That happened completely before she and I ever had this conversation. She was having a conversation with Patrice about Alonzo, and she was milking this choke and spank thing up for the 1,000th time, talking about it for the 1,000,000th time, and she got upset. I'm not going to go into detail about what the conversation was that triggered her, just out of respect. Yeah, that had nothing to do with me. That was absolutely nothing to do with me. So want to correct that narrative. Did not make Ko cry at all. She was crying about milking this Alonzo choke or spank scenario. So, so yeah.
Okay, before you go further, because I can see the comments. I think people are a little bit lost. You're gonna have to tell a story again about this
Should
recording.
I
I think
cut my comments
people have
on
got
at this
lost
point so
in
I
the
can
dynamics
see?
of the story. I think the juiciness of the story got us a little bit discombobulated. Just from the very beginning, just one more time, just so we can follow you again. This
Yeah.
recording story, just so we get an understanding. I kind of get it now, but I just want to just from the beginning, just bring us in slowly so we can rock with you. Tell us again,
Okay.
please.
So this was the dinner occurred the night of the brunch, or after we wrapped shooting the brunch. This is after we've met everybody. So I'm thinking, okay, we're gonna come in and kind of just have, because these are the ladies that I started with, and that this is the group of people that I'm in this, and that I'm in this, uh, I'm sorry, that I started this with. They just started this group chat, right? So we're in this group chat. We have our kikis and our ha-has here and there. And I'm just like, over the last few days, I'm just feeling like, this is super negative. Like, I don't want to wake up at 8 o'clock in the morning and turn over and look at my phone and there's 10 messages about some goofy shit. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not, no, please leave me out of, like, remove me from the chat. You know what I mean? And so it was just getting to the point where I'm just like, I'm really not feeling this chat. I'm just not even responding to a whole lot of stuff anymore. You know what I'm saying? So hey Lex, we're all gonna go out to eat. Let's go all out. Let's all go out. Okay, cool. So at this dinner, we're having drinks, we're eating. Nothing seems weird. Nothing seems like strange. You know what I mean? Again, at this point, I'm under the impression that we're cool. You know what I mean? And again, I did not say anything. According to the guys who admittedly said that they heard this recording, they said, Lex, from what I heard, you ain't really, it wasn't nothing that I would have been like upset about. It's nothing that, I feel like would have changed our outlook on you. And again, I haven't heard this recording, but I'm not that person also to just sit up and just shit on people. That's just not who I am.
I
You know
get
what I
it, but in
mean?
the midst of the banter, did you say something? Because we all listen. I'm sure if people caught
Yeah,
me, I've said some stuff, so I can't lie to you. You know what I mean?
I can't tell you that I didn't say I'm not feeling him, or kind of weird with XYZ, or he's just not my type physically. I can't tell you that I didn't say anything like that. What I know I didn't say is that I'm a gold digger and I'm connecting with Will because he says he has money. That was the whole premise, was them trying to say that I'm a gold digger and I'm not nice, or I'm just a bitch, or whatever catty mean girl things that they said to the guys. you know so yeah,
I
so
get it.
the dinner goes, and a few days later, I get this phone call about said recording, and I'm like, that's not true. Like, like, what? Like, you gonna record me? You trying to get me? Like, what's up with this? You know what I'm saying? I see you, and I'm just gonna move out your way, because I really don't want to just get into the dynamic with these ladies that I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know what's on these people's mind. I see you and I'm moving out your way. And that's how I was approaching the situation. I wasn't going to bring it in front of the cameras. I was going to leave it on the playground because it was child's play to me. I was going to leave it on the playground. But you want to ambush me and bring this up out of nowhere, out of left freaking field, after you just had this whole emotional meltdown about a guy asking you choked or spanked. Like what is happening? Like, it was all just happening so fast. You know what I mean? It's just like, what the hell is going on right now? So yeah, I went off, and they edited the crap out of that scene. Again, did not make Cole cry. And part of the conversation, I remember on that episode, I was saying, if you weren't trying to holler at other men, and they edited that out. And so what I want to clarify with that was, at that brunch, when we were all met everybody, you have to understand just how negative, like, some of these ladies were talking and speaking ill of these guys, to the point where it's just like, I'm about to just start defending all the men, because Like, what have they done to you that is so bad that you are just like letting these guys have it in these lounges on national television? You know what I mean? Like, you're painting these guys out to be XYZ, and that is not the case. And the viewers are gonna eat this shit up, and it's not okay. It's not cool. You know what I mean? Like, let's not destroy someone's reputation and credibility because you don't find them cute enough. You know what I mean? So that's your MO, to do like hateful things to people. So yeah, we had it out, but what I was saying was, like, at that brunch, MIEKA and Co were exchanging numbers with guys that weren't even on the show, that were just at the restaurant, happened to be at the restaurant. So when I said that you guys are basically, they didn't need my screenshot to make an assessment of you. You're doing that all by yourself. When you go and you exchange numbers with other men who aren't even on the show in front of men that you're supposed to be dating, that speaks volumes of how seriously you're taking this process. That speaks volumes on what you think about these men. And so,
wait, they got numbers from other people.
allegedly, from what I heard from multiple guys, is, oh yeah, we saw them exchange numbers with these two guys, MIEKA and Co. They were chatting up with some guys that were there at the restaurant, exchange numbers. This is in the middle of while we all filming and doing stuff and doing all type of stuff. And you did this in front of them. So my text message defending myself, where I'm showing that I'm not the one being negative here, is not the problem. You are your own problem. Let's be clear. These men were making assessments of them long before my text message came into play. And let's be clear, I didn't send what I could have sent, what was really being said. I sent what defended myself straight from the horse's mouth, saying I'm not the one being negative. So yeah, that was that on that argument. They edited a lot of that out, a ton of that out. And the way they spliced that whole, made it seem like I made Cole cry. I was like, oh, y'all really on one. Like, this is wild. This is crazy that y'all really put that together like that. Yeah.
Okay, so there's a lot of things going on. Okay. Okay, so that's obviously part of the beef that you guys had originally then. Obviously, you know, MIEKA and KOSHIEA had their own agendas and stuff. Did you get on well with other ladies as well? Or is it just those two that you didn't get on with?
I did not get along well with the other ladies. I think at one point Patrice kind of wanted to have a problem with me because her friends did. You know what I'm saying? So, but that was very short lived. That wasn't even on my radar. I would say Vanessa was really cool. Vanessa was always neutral. She never kind of chose sides, or it felt like that way. You know what I'm saying? I don't, to be really honest with you, I don't know these people like that. So I don't really trust a whole lot of people, but I will say that honestly, Vanessa and Laylin were the only two girls that were, or only two ladies that I think I could see myself being associated with them as more, you know, more so as like, it's just the energy and the cattiness and the eye rolling and the extra just bad energy like towards you is just unnecessary. So, but you know, I think Vanessa overall, you know, was probably the most neutral lady of the group. Yeah.
Is that the only person you had a real kind of cool vibe with, or?
Well, Laylin wasn't there for very long, but we did when she was there, and and as nice as a woman as Laylin is, even they found something to just not like about her, which was insane. Like, she wasn't even there that long. Like, how are you possibly finding something negative about somebody who hasn't said more than 2 words to you? You know what I mean? So it just, again, it speaks volumes to um, how incompatible and how, for the most part, these aren't the type of women that I would just really hang with outside of this situation. Not saying they're bad chicks, like, you know, some of them are cool chicks. But I just feel like they very much so chose sides. Yeah.
I hear that. So obviously, and I think you really kind of cleared it, but I just want to make it very clear so we know before we move on to the next part. Obviously, that comment that you made with Ko saying, you kind of brought it on yourself, in a sense. The guys know who to try. Tell us about that comment. What was your thought process behind that, and how did the conversation get there?
I said that because I've never like really experienced like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde in the flesh until like I ran across Ko. And I'll be for real. This woman would literally, her personalities would go from being, oh, I be face down, ass up. I'm not even gonna go into all the details, but when you're giving off very sexual, flirty, come hither energy around people when the cameras are off, but then as soon as them cameras come on, you're a whole nun out here in these streets. It's very off-putting. So again, when in terms of things like why would he ask me choked or spanked, why would something like that come about, like let's keep it 100. Cole is a very sexual person, okay? And if I was a dude, I probably would have thought she trying to get with me at a few occasions. You know what I mean? So it wasn't just all that crazy for Alonzo to really ask that. And what I meant by that is, if you're not out here putting out this type of energy, then that's not really usually what you're gonna get back. You understand what I'm saying? So when I said men know who to play with, if every man is approaching you and rubbing you the wrong way in a sexual way, let's ask ourselves why. What am I doing to make men think that I want these type of sexual advances? That's all I meant by that. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's what that was. If you keep on acting like you are open to that type of engagement, then they're gonna push the envelope and try you at some point. They're gonna check your temperature. They're gonna just check your temp a little bit and see. I mean, you acting like you want me to flirt with you. You acting like you want me to, you know what I mean? So I'm not saying if something bad happens to a woman that was unwanted, she deserves it because she was acting a certain way. No, that's not what I'm saying. But also, don't do certain things that are very sexual in nature and then act like I can't say something to you that after you just said something sexual to me. That's what that was. Yeah.
That's fair. I hear that. Um, Obviously, then you kind of streaming on from there. Obviously, then you found yourself in a situation where Jonathan, did a little bit too much, and the guys had to rescue you. Tell us about that night. What your perspective of, leading up to that situation. What was your perception of that night? Because obviously, it was an unfortunate set of events that happened at that point in time. So, love to get your perspective.
So you mean like what was my perception like going into the pajama party?
Yeah, like before we get to the point where it
just
actually
in
happened.
general?
Like, what was going on? What was you observing? What was you seeing? What was going on with you?
That night, at the pajama party, I was just chilling. Like I think that was probably one of the least, for a certain part of the night, that was the least stressful, one of the least stressful nights or filming days that we had because everybody's drinking, everybody is having fun. The energy didn't seem so intense at the first half of that night. So going into it, I'm like, oh, okay, it's a pajama party. I felt like this was a little soon to be in this type of situation with people that, like, you got to keep in mind how fast all of this happens. You know what I mean? On this show, like how fast all of this happens. It's like lightning speed. So you're like going from, oh, so what do you do for a living, to, oh, let's talk about some of your kinks, some of your sexual kinks, like the next week. So it's like, it's a lot. So you don't really know what to expect going into this pajama party. But what I didn't expect is for Jonathan to get full of that oil and pick me up and put me on his lap. Yeah, that was different.
When you say different, obviously some people felt uncomfortable watching you go through that situation because they felt like he was doing way too much. From your perspective, I know obviously he's apologized, he said on the show, but what describe to us what was happening, because obviously he's pulled you onto his lap. It looks like he's it starts off well, but he pulled you onto his knee at first. I think you wanted to go on his knee, I think, and then he kind of pulled you in more than that. So yeah, tell us your thoughts on that.
So the night of the pajama party, with the conversation you saw us having kind of near the pool, that was the first time. That was the first time that that Jonathan had like verbatim told me like, I'm interested, I like you, right? So this was like news to me, because I'm like, you like me? Like, since when? I've seen you. We've been on dates. I've seen you a couple of times. Like, since we started this thing, like, how you like me? Anyway, that just messing with him. But we got to talking, and that was the first night I realized it. So when we were playing the game, I think LARON or somebody, I guess the question on the game was like, whisper sweet nothings in your connection's ear or something. And so he kind of gave me that look, and I'm like, oh shit, he's like gonna do me, you know what I'm saying? So so he like kind of like reaches out for my hand for me to like come towards him. So I was gonna, like, he was sitting on this like armoire chase type of deal, and so I was gonna sit on his lap sideways, like on one leg, and kind of just have a flirty moment that way, right? He literally turns me and is like now pulling my body to like straddle him. So the part that they're not showing you is me going, no, like I'm literally like stiffening my body up and like literally both hands to chest, like, no, like, what are we doing? And so at this point, he just is, obviously stronger than me, goes ahead and picks me up and sits me down. Then he kind of whispers like, just go with it. And so we're in this situation. How I want to react is to probably slap this man. You know what I mean? That's my natural reaction is, no, what are you doing? I'm about to slap him. You know what I mean? But this is a totally off-putting type situation, right? Where you're in a room full of people. If I react badly or overreact in this situation, or slap him or anything like that, this is going to ruin the whole night, the whole energy, the whole mood, the game, everything shut down, go home, right? If I take it there, because it looked really bad. You know what I mean? Like, this is obviously unwanted, or I thought it was obvious that I didn't want to be in this situation at this point, but again, Jonathan had that look in his eye. He had a little bit too much to drink. And so he just wasn't picking up on social cues, I think, in that moment. And so, yeah, it's just one of those decisions, like, do I react how I want to react and ruin it for everybody? Or do I let this go by, bite the bullet, and then address this when he's sober and when, he can fully understand, like, how uncomfortable I was in that situation.
Yeah, and it was uncomfortable to watch. The guys obviously pulled him off eventually. Pulled you off, sorry, eventually, as well. Obviously, it has to be fair. People would say, well, do you feel like, you gave him some energy that led to that situation, right? For instance, maybe when you guys were talking about sucking toes, and, someone might say, they might say that because obviously you made a comment about KOSHIEA. I don't know if you want to address that point.
No, because at no point did I ever give sexual energy to Jonathan. And you can ask Jonathan if I ever came off as wanting him to pursue me in a way that would make anybody uncomfortable. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that I just think he had a bad moment that night, and people are allowed to have bad moments. And I quickly realized that they are going to use this as his exit door. And they were just asking me way too often on camera about this situation, and I felt like they really wanted me to cook this man. And so part of the reason why I was so adamant about, like, Jonathan had a bad moment. Jonathan apologized to me. Jonathan called me and he made it right. And he expressed how sorry he was. He told me that, it's not an excuse, but I was a little intoxicated and I put you in an uncomfortable position. And I truly never meant to make you feel that way. And so I was so open about his apology, and I just wanted to shut it down, because what I didn't want to happen was what I thought I was seeing going to happen, was they're going to nail this man to the cross behind this. And that's really would be completely unfair, being how nice Jonathan is and how much of a gentleman he has been outside of this one incident where he's not in his right mind. He's an omega. That man is a Q. So when they get full of that oil, they get full of that oil. And he just had a night where he was full. That's all. So I really wanted to shut it down as seamlessly and as quickly as possible, to just kind of do some damage control. Like, that man has a child, he has family that are going to watch this, and I don't want any of his business partners or associates or anything to think that this man is sexually aggressive in any way. This is who he is, that he had a bad moment, and that's all.
I hear that. I definitely hear that. And I understand where you're coming from. I think I get what you're saying. I think some people might feel like, whilst I get what you're saying, they might feel like, even though, that you may have felt like you didn't give no sexual energy off, right? Someone might say, you don't know what kind of energy you gave off. you might have felt like,
we could go directly to the source and ask Jonathan. I haven't talked to Jonathan since I can't tell you when, but if you have every source you need to be able to get the answers you want. So you asked Jonathan if I gave him some energy where he felt like it would be okay to pick me up and saddle him on his lap in a sober mind. I don't think he would say yes, but it's always, you can always ask.
No, I hear that. I think, like I said, I think people might feel some way about that. But I get what you're saying, but I think some people might feel some way about that.
I mean, they feel some type of way because it's Wednesday, Kojo. So who cares?
I mean, listen, hey, I'm hearing you. Okay, so shifting it on then, shifting it on then, from that particular point, the situation obviously then shifts to, actually, wait, before that, did you ever have any run-ins with LARON before this situation?
No, I never had a run-in ever with LARON. And so that's what's so interesting is, like, I don't know why this man hated me so. It's because, like, I had one conversation with him at the first brunch. He wasn't for me. And if I had said something at least even just remotely sideways about LARON, don't you think they would have shown it to further the narrative that LARON and I had tension? LARON and I had no tension whatsoever. So yeah, prior to I don't even know prior to what. Me and LARON never had a run-in. Which was, again, so mind-boggling to me why I'm why he's gunning for me the most. At what point did we have beef?
So, if you guys never had no beef, what happened when obviously he
I
was going to
never had
eliminate
beef.
you?
I'll say I never had beef.
Okay, he was going to eliminate you. I know that he said obviously there was more energy behind that thing, but he asked him to retake. So what
Hmm.
happened? How did you guys get to a point where at the point where he's going to eliminate you, there's such heat between the both of you?
Again, just as confused as me. I walked into this date and the producer says is basically prepping. So you have to understand how they prep you for scenes, right? This show isn't scripted. It is heavily guided and influenced in how they want the scene to go. So far, so much so that they hold up cue cards with keywords when they want you to touch on certain conversations and certain things that they want you to talk about. So, scripted, no. Heavily influenced by production, absolutely. Right. So when I make it to this date, um, I see LARON and I mean, if you know how to, if you pick up on how the show goes, you send somebody home, you probably next to go home, right? So I think I had just sent Jonathan home, I believe. And so when I walk into this date, again, you don't know who you're on a date with until you get to the till you get there. You know, you don't know anything. You walk into the date, get mic'd up, do your walk ups, and then they say, "Oh, by the way, you're on a date with so and so. This is your date. You brought him here, and remember, Tommy said talk about XYZ this week. You should hit on dun dun dun. We'll hold your cues when it's time when we want you to go into this." That's how it goes. So I come into this date. Producer says, "So you and LARON have tension." I said, "We do." I said, "I'm like, when the hell did they add this to the script? When did me and LARON have beef?" And so she was like, and I'm like, I looked at her and I said, y'all ain't finna hit me like, you know what I'm saying, with that shit. And she was like, "It's still a TV show, Alexis. We still need you to get this in." Cause I was about to be like, "Nah, forget your scene. I'm finna, this is how we finna do this. Like, this is, you wanna eliminate me? Then let's do it." And so this still a show. We still need to get our scene. Don't be that way. Let us get our scene. Okay, whatever. So just act normal throughout the day, have a conversation, just act like you don't realize what's about to happen, Alexis. So I'm sitting here and I'm thinking all this, and I'm sitting here looking at LARON, and he got his, he got his chest all puffed up and his hair standing up on the back of his head. And I'm like, is he gonna do what they want him to do? Like, if you got such beef with me, you got such problem with me, then let's talk about it. Let's hash it out. Let's talk about the root of the issue. And LARON never did that. LARON, he uh for lack of a better term, he folded. And he didn't have that same energy that he had when he was giggling and sniggling all in the men's lounges. He sat down in front of me and he had some act right. He had some respect for me because I came at him and I asked him point blank, period, "What's our beef? What's our problem? I hear we got a problem." "Oh, well, I don't have a problem with you. It's just..." So you listening to these ladies fill your head up with lies, telling you I said XYZ from ladies' lounges, and you letting them boost you up with that, and now you're going on. They're using you to do their dirty work because they can't vote me off the island. You know what I mean? They're gonna have to get every guy on their side to be able to vote me off. And at this point, the week before I got eliminated, I met half of the guys' friends. I met half of the guys' cast. This half of the six, I met their friends. You know what I'm saying? They didn't even show me and Dominique having a sit down with his friend. You know what I mean? So it's just like, I'm like, how y'all sending me home this week? And last week I just met all of these guys' friends, and y'all was getting prepared to meet my exes and blah blah blah. How are they gonna spin this, right? Like, this is crazy. Like, I don't understand. Because the only guy who didn't like me was LARON. So you need more than just one guy to send me off the show, right? So I think LARON just went extra hard and was like, "Alexis, Alexis, Alexis," since Cole's gone, and he felt like I had my hand in that. And again, I don't vote the ladies off, the men do. You know what I'm saying? I would have to get into every single guy's ear on the show and say, "Hey, y'all need to be voting Co off." if that's what the alliance was, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I ain't know nothing about no beef until I showed up and was told that I had beef with LARON. Yeah.
Okay, I hear that. So obviously, it gets to the I guess the reunion then. So why is it that you and LaRon seem to have a bit of a back and forth then? Because I mean, in that situation, you was calling him the biggest snake. Da 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 da. So what happened at that point that you got to that point where you and LaRon are now going trading insults back and back?
So the more time that goes by, the more just stuff you find out about, right? The more just things come to the surface. And at this point in the reunion, LaRon had already sent me messages and all of this stuff saying how sorry he was and how bad he felt that he was he let MIEKA and Co manipulate him, and that he should have done his own investigative work and should have come straight to he did all this apologizing after the fact, right? So again, I'm one of those people, you've shown me who you are. I see you. I'm moving on. Move out my way. Just move out my way. You know what I mean? So I still have all these texts, by the way. I'll send them to you on a flip side if you'd like to see them. But yeah, sending me all these sorry, shoulda, woulda, couldas. And for me, it's like it's too late to apologize. Like, you chose your side, you did what you did for whatever reasons you did it, and you didn't care about me. You shit on me, and you didn't care about the truth. You didn't care to get the truth of the situation, right? But instead, what you did was you allowed these ladies to manipulate you and gas you up, and you felt like a fool. None of them even talked to you. Like, they were all turning on each other. Like, so it's just crazy to see, like, all of this was really for nothing. It was really truly for nothing. You just made my time on this show more difficult than it needed to be. Period. That's all. You just made it difficult for me to enjoy myself and truly enjoy this experience. So by the time we get to the reunion, you've already done all these apologies. Now we're sitting up and we're watching all these clips that, we're watching all these clips for the first time too. You know what I'm saying? We haven't seen any of this. We don't know any of this information that is going to be shown or that is on wax, So we're sitting here watching, you watching it, and you like, damn, like, you had a whole lot to say about me. And it's funny how there's no footage of me bad mouthing you or anybody else, because if it was, again, to push the narrative that I'm messy and I'm this and I'm that, they would have shown it. Don't you think it would have furthered their narrative? They didn't show it because there is no footage of it, because it didn't happen, because I wasn't doing those types of things. So when you're sitting there and you've apologized to me profusely and I've let it go, I've buried it. I've been here for 12 freaking hours. I haven't eaten since 9 a.m. I've been drinking for the last 5 or 6 hours. I'm tired. I'm watching you say all of this nonsense and just crazy, disgusting things about me in particular. And then, even when I haven't said anything to you at all this whole reunion, when a snake question gets asked, and you've been the main one who's been, Alexis is the snake, and you're the biggest snake here, you still gonna keep poking at me? You still gonna keep poking at me? Now I'm finna bite your head off because you playing with me. Now you about to see my dark side, because I'm fed up. I'm fed up at this point. I have been disrespected this entire process. I have been lied on. I have been toyed with, and I am fed up. Enough is enough. I'm done. You're not going to keep berating me, and I'm going to just keep, I'm going to be nice about it. I'm not going to say anything. Absolutely not. I'm finna bite your head off at this point. I was tired.
So are you saying that your frustration for LaRon came because you guys have obviously there's one or two incidents, but you watched the clips and that's what kind of
you're watching in the head for you? Right. You're watching these clips, and then you're seeing all the things that they didn't even, they showed us clips that they didn't even show on the show, right? They showed us like all the clips like of things that they didn't even show on the show. So you're seeing all this and it's like, damn, this is what you really think of me? Oh, because of what? And then you want me to sit here and hear you call me a snake yet again and not say anything to you? Like,
Wait, he
no.
called you a snake
Yeah, that was the question in the
first,
game.
or
Yes.
okay?
That was the question in the game. The question in the game was something about a snake or something. And LARON was like, oh, if it's something about a snake, I'm sure it's Alexis. And at this point, I'm like, well, damn, do I need to put a LARON don't say shit to me sign on my back for you to understand I'm not dealing with you? But since you keep poking me, I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to let you have it.
Damn. So he said on the reunion. At a reunion, he said that.
Yes. So it's just like I can't win for losing. I haven't done anything to you. I haven't badmouthed you. I don't have anything bad to say about you because you were never on my radar. You were never a factor for me. You weren't in my bottoms or in my tops because you weren't on my mind. Had I known what I know now, he would have been my LARON, bottom. I would have really dogged and trashed him if I had known what I know now. But I didn't, because that's not who I am. That's not how I operate. But when you put me in a corner and you force me to claw my way out, it's not going to always come out in the best way. So
Okay. So okay. So that happened with LARON. Okay. So on the reunion, on reunion, obviously, I know you guys, yourself and KOSHIEA and MIEKA had a bit of a beef before then. But what happened to get to a point of explosion? Because I hear it, that LARON was testing your patience. I get it. I mean, he answered a question about who he thought someone would call him a snake. That's what we saw. The question was who would call him a snake? And you mentioned your name, yes. And then obviously you said he's the biggest snake.
yeah, he is.
So then, how do we get to a point where now, when Will touches you, you're telling him to f off, to get his hand off you? The security are trying to touch you. You move their hand out of the way, and it was an aggressive manner. I can't lie to you, it was aggressive.
Yeah.
And then MIEKA comes across. You're saying you're gonna beat her up. Justin, you're having a beef with, all in that moment. What's going on at that moment? Because that situation was a very, very heated situation.
Yeah. So in that situation, you have to understand I am on an island. I felt like this entire process, I have been placed on an island by myself, and really with no good cause, no warrant, no good cause for any of this. These people came for me. You recorded me. You started with me. And when I respond in a way that you don't like, now I'm messy. Now I'm the bad guy. So you got to understand this. We get there at 9 o'clock, and I'll start from the beginning. We get there at 9 o'clock or so in the morning. When we get there, I don't know where the production budget for food is at, but they need to relook at that, because have burritos cut in half that taste like they've been cooked 2 days ago for crew, cast, production, everybody with a cuties orange is not enough food for anybody that's about to be at an open bar drinking for the next 12 hours with no food. And when I say no food, I mean 3 egg rolls and 5 crab cakes for 20 people is not doing anything for anybody. You are sitting on these scenes, on these stages for 10, 12 hours at a time, and you are sitting around doing a whole lot of nothing. It's just hurrying up and waiting. So at this point, look, I done ate breakfast. It's about 10:30. At this point, we just sitting around drinking. It's about 4 or 5 hours been passed. We ain't did a whole lot of nothing. We just sitting here. Shit, I didn't realize. Hey, Lexus, come to the stage. Damn, I'm drunk. It's like 3 o'clock in the afternoon at this point. I haven't eaten since breakfast. I've been drinking for hours. Now, mind you, yeah, they have a real interesting way of how they make sure they create environments that are going to produce the most ratings and drama, right? And then, you know, me being 125 pounds with rocks in both of my pockets, I'm not a big drinker. I don't hold my alcohol well at all. And then on top of coupled with, you know, just being, it's a lot of anxiety that is associated with this type of situation. It's a lot of anxiety. I have a lot of things that I want to get off my chest. It's a lot of just weird negative energy still. This is like far removed from my life. This was 3-4 months later. We didn't film the reunion until like 4 months after the show wrapped. So now it's like I've moved on to my life with my life to a certain degree. I really don't even talk to the people who I was on the show with. So now 2 weeks before the freaking reunion, a week before the reunion, you telling us this is the day that we're filming. So now I got to get wardrobe. I got to get everything situated. All this anxiety is coming back up again. All of these things that you thought you had buried and moved on or detached from and moved on from, now all of a sudden it's boom, right here in your face again after 3 months. You got all these things you want to say. It's a lot going on. And I'll just be honest, I had too much to drink. As embarrassing and as humbling as that moment was for me to have literally my most embarrassing moment ever on film for the world to see, it was a humbling experience. And I can't say anything, you know, alcohol is no excuse, but baby, auntie had a little bit too much to drink that night. And she cut up. She cut up. But if my delivery and how I said what I said, I would have, if I could change it, I would. But what I said, I wholeheartedly believe that I will beat MIEKA the fuck up. I do think LARON is a dork. At no point is anybody ever really gonna do nothing for real, like how they want you to think. They not really about that type of lifestyle. And yeah, I apologize. I will apologize to my mom and my dad. Honestly though, all jokes aside, like that was probably my most embarrassing moment ever. And it's not a reflection of who I am or, you know, how I was raised or anything like that. It is a direct reflection of feeling like I was being toyed with and disrespected over the course of a very, very long time. And I was tired. You back me into a corner and I'm gonna claw my way out every time. So yeah, I'm not apologizing to any of the cast or anything. I feel how I feel about it. I feel how I feel about y'all, the good and the bad. But I do apologize to my parents and my family, my support system, because those are the people's opinions that matter to me. And you know, those are the only people who I really want to know that I apologize for my delivery. I'm not apologizing again for what I said, but how I said it, I definitely should have refined myself and kept my cool, but I didn't. I lost it. And you know, it is what it is.
I mean, I definitely hear it. I mean, obviously, I get the Ron situation, of course, but you then obviously had one with Justin too. So
I don't even remember little Justin. Look, Justin stands about 5'7" tall, just as I do. Justin's a cool guy, but I don't even remember him inserting himself in that situation. That was between me and MIEKA. MIEKA said something slick to me. I caught wind of it and turned my attention to her. I don't feel like Justin was trying to fight me or anything like that. But listen, if you my height or shorter, we can get busy.
I mean, I don't think he was trying to get with it. I think he was trying to let you know that he felt like you was doing a little bit too much.
That's totally fine. He can feel that way, but what he just needs to be a little bit more careful in inserting himself in women's in high intensity women's situations. That's all. Because had if some of my closer male compadres weren't too keen on seeing that either. So you know what I mean? We I let men deal with men for the most part. So if there is anybody that he would like to talk to in regard to how I behaved that evening, I have a big list of guys that could talk to LARON, to Justin, whoever has a word for me. So yeah, but yeah, I think men should let women's business be women's business. But cool guy though. But yeah, I didn't at that point. It's so many people coming from me from so many different directions. I didn't know who was who. I had my target set on who I wanted to interact with in that moment. I honestly didn't see Justin come up really remember it until watching it. Yeah.
Alexis, what's going on?
What do you mean?
What's really going on?
What do you mean?
Because this underneath the surface, I feel like there's heat.
Yeah. I get heat sometimes.
I feel tension, and it's 6 months ago. I feel there's
there's no tension with that.
The way you should hear yourself, the way you're explaining it. There's some.
What type of tension do you think? Like I said, point blank period. I think men should, especially if it's getting to a physical place. I hadn't put my hands on nobody. You know what I mean? But I didn't, and again, I didn't realize that all of that even occurred until rewatching it back. You got to understand, there's so many people coming at me from so many different angles. All I'm seeing and wanting is back away from. Why are there 4 or 5 people crowding me? Period. Back away from me. Y'all are making this a bigger. You're amping me up right now, because you're putting me in a situation where I'm sitting, and now all of a sudden I got somebody from behind me, somebody on each side of me. Now I got 2 people coming from in front of me. It's a lot. Like you can't just surround people and think they're going to remain calm when they're already escalated. And so I didn't really, it was the comments that were like, Justin was trying to fight Lex. I'm like, I didn't think Justin was trying to fight me until I saw the scene back, and I'm like, oh, he did kind of, get up and come towards me. And LARON did too. And I want production to know that, like, when do we start protecting women? When are we allowing all these type of aggressive actions towards women to just occur? And it's not just like I asked her to choke the spank. This is, you are standing up over me and heated and talking crazy to me as a woman. And I'm already feeling alienated. Several people. LARON, Justin was apparently said something to me.
He was sitting down. We saw Justin. He wasn't sitting there. He was sitting down, and his hands were actually relaxed on the couch. He was just trying to tell you, listen, you've done a little bit too much. You're doing a little bit too much talking.
Listen, y'all don't get to see. You don't know what you don't know. Y'all don't get to see everything. Y'all are seeing little bits and pieces of a totally 15, 20-minute probably ordeal. You understand what I'm saying? You're seeing bits and pieces. So it's chopped and it's spliced. And what you don't understand is, when you're watching this stuff back, you're like, oh, wait, I do remember this happening. And no, he had a bit of aggressive moment, just as LARON, just as Alonzo wasn't aggressive with me. He was more so, I think, trying to reach his hand out and pull me out of the situation. To, hey, kind of, come and go with me. But in that situation, I'm like, I'm not leaving the stage. I'm not the one that's wrong. He started with me. He's the one that's yelling all these types of nonsenses. And when I start yelling nonsenses back, then everybody is, Alexis, chill. Alexis, relax. Well, it was okay for him to berate me verbally just 2 seconds ago. So no, I'm not leaving. You're going to listen to what I'm saying. You're going to respect and hear me. Again, what you say, you're going to hear me. You're not going to keep emotionally neglecting me. Ready to Love production. Y'all are gonna, like, some of these dudes have been acting a fool all season, and you've letting it get to this point, and now that it reached a head, now everybody calm down. No, these people been acting, not Justin in particular, but LARON had a moment at the PJ party where he showed his behind completely. You know what I mean? So what if at that party I start yelling out, man, LARON, he do cocaine. Look how he acting. LARON acted a fool at that pajama party when they sent KOEISHA home. So when you start to talk about things and start to throw out words and things that could be very damaging to somebody, then yeah, I'm gonna snap. Because now you're trying to take everything that I've built over the last decade and ruin it with nonsense. You understand what I'm saying? So yeah, I'm not in a good mood about this reunion. Yeah, I am defensive going into this reunion because I've been toyed with for the last 6-7 months dealing with this. I'm defensive, yeah. I am ready to let any and everybody have it at this reunion. That's how I came in. Absolutely. And that on top of too much alcohol and absolutely no food, it's no wonder. It was a recipe. It was a recipe for something like that to happen. I'm going to switch my headphones. Hold on a second. Can you hear me? Okay. So yeah, Alexis was mad. Auntie was mad. Auntie was definitely upset. Yeah, I started this whole process with the best of intentions. And to go through this and feel like you've been betrayed by not only the cast but by production too, because you can't help but to know that they knew about a lot of this stuff that was happening, and instead of protecting someone that they swore, Alexis, we, man, of all the people I've worked with on Ready Love, like, you one of my favorite people to have worked with. Man, Alexis, the guys loved you, man. You're a hit, Alexis. They loving you, girl. Even when I really wanted to go home, man, Alexis, please don't go. Like, let's just stay. Let's just finish it out. Let's just do what you need to do and just finish it out. I mean, you started it. Don't quit. Okay. And for this to end, like, to this is what y'all wanted to show of me. Like, I feel betrayed. Y'all been letting these people play with me and play these games behind the scenes, and you allowed it to happen because you want ratings. When the truth, of the situations would have been just as entertaining as the nonsense that they edited. The things that they edited, it would have, the truth of the situation, the truth of all of these situations would have been just as entertaining, if not more entertaining, than what they decided to show. And that's the truth. Had they just shown the truth about the situations, that would have been entertainment enough. But no, they, yeah, everybody got to get their ratings, regardless of whose expense it is or anything like that. So it's just unfortunate. I felt completely betrayed by people who allegedly cried and fought for me at the reunion, but you didn't really care about me too much if that's what you wanted to show of me. You know what I mean? So I get it. It's your job. It's your livelihood. But I hope you can sleep. I hope all of those reality TV inner workings, and I hope they can sleep at night. It's weird. It's very weird.
So obviously you apologize and everything as well.
Mm-hmm.
But do you take any accountability for how you actually wowed out? Because irrespective of whether people were triggered you
Yeah,
have the
I absolutely wilded out. I wilded out. I'm telling you, that is not a representation of who or how I wanted that to go. I don't think anybody will go into a reunion and want to blow up and walk off and be like, F everybody on this stage, right? That's not the idea. That I didn't wake up that day thinking it was gonna go like that. But yeah, I take full accountability. Again, my delivery and how I brought it forward and expressed what it was that I was feeling was completely wrong. Totally. What I said to each and every person is the truth, the God's honest truth. I don't lie on no. You call me a lot of things. You can't call me a liar. What I said was the truth, but it didn't come out in the way that I wanted it to. So yeah, full accountability. 100% wrong. Should not have handled it that way. Absolutely.
So I'm not even really fussed about what you actually said. Personally, I think things get said anyway. I'm actually talking about what you did. So I'm talking about the fact that when I say wild and out, I wasn't actually talking about what you were saying. I'm talking about the fact that you were on the verge of fighting everybody. Like everybody. Like even when you
You
were
thought I wasn't on the verge of fighting everybody. If I didn't have so much to lose, I probably would have put hands and feet on MIEKA. And if I were a man, I probably would have done the same thing to LARON. And that's the truth. And you can say that it's not taking accountability or whatever, but I mean, if I could have had the chance to handle it the inappropriate way that I truly wanted to handle it, then it is what it is. But yeah, that's how I truly felt in the moment. That's how I truly felt in the moment. And should I have expressed it differently? Yes. But I'm not gonna lie to you and tell you, I ain't really. That's not really what I was thinking. It didn't. That's not really what I wanted to say. That's exactly what I wanted to say. It's not how I wanted to say it.
But I'm not talking about like what you said again. I'm talking about the fact that saying something is one thing. It's the aggressive behavior that was coming from the thing. I wasn't talking about what you said. Like what you said is what you said. They said some stuff. You said some stuff. Everybody said some stuff. Do you know what I'm saying to you? But you got to a point where it almost felt like you just saw red, and everybody can get it. Even the security, people who were trying to say, listen, hey, like chill. You swipe their hand away.
Yeah, don't touch me while I'm walking away from you. Don't touch me.
No, you weren't walking away. You were sitting down. You were sitting down at that point.
It doesn't matter. Listen, what I'm telling you is, Kojo, you feeling like I'm not taking accountability for my actions is you're saying that doesn't make it true. That doesn't make it the truth. What I'm telling you is that if I was upset enough to want to physically fight somebody, that is my truth. Again, I truly felt that way in that moment. Yeah, I'm not saying it was the right way to feel. I'm not saying it was the right way to address it. I'm not saying I should have walked off that stage. What I'm saying is it is my truth. That's how I felt. And again, I could have handled it better. That's the end of it. I could have handled it better, but I didn't. I can't go back and change it. I can't do all my shoulda, woulda, couldas at this point. I can't. I can only apologize and say that that's not who I am. That's not how I don't go around putting hands on people. This isn't a real life situation where this would ever occur. This is a one instance. This is what I'm trying to get you to understand. I don't go around putting my hands on people. That's not how I work in my life. What I'm telling you is in that moment, I could have handled that better. Period.
So I'm going to make it, let me make it clear, because I don't want you to misunderstand what I'm saying. I wasn't holding you accountable for what you said, right? And the reason why we're missing each other is because you're actually not listening to what I'm saying to you. When I was saying, because when I explained what scenario came up, you gave a completely different scenario. You wasn't standing up when this happened. You were sitting down. And I know it's because I reviewed it in detail. Mm-hmm. You were sitting down and everybody was getting it. So it did, even the security guard who's trying to tell you to calm down, who has to do that, because now you're becoming a physical threat to people. You were in the face of Justin at one point. So at that point, he has to get involved. So if you're telling me I can't touch you, I have to tell you, no, he has to touch you because he has to let you know this is going to go too far. And clearly it would have gone too far because you were even telling us you wanted to put hands on them. So it could have got too far. So what I'm saying to you, I'm not telling you to be accountable for what you said. People say what they said. What I was telling you to was focus on the fact that at this point you were getting to a place where physically it was about to be a problem. So when you're saying to someone can't touch me, I get it. Listen, Will couldn't touch you if you felt like he couldn't touch you. What I'm trying to highlight to you is you are not at a point where you're cognizant at that point because anybody who was going to go in that situation was going to be.
Kojo, what part of when you are blackout drunk, when you are intoxicated, you are not going to be thinking, I know that this guy is trying to put his hands on me to prevent me from. You're not thinking that. That's not the thought process, right? What it is you've had too much to drink, you're seeing red, and that's it. I don't know how many other ways to rephrase that. Again, I handled the situation wrong. I'm not understanding how that's not taking accountability for what occurred. I'm telling you, I handled it wrong. Period. I meant what I said, but I handled it wrong. That's it. That's all. I'm really trying to understand what is where the disconnect is as far as you feeling like I'm not taking accountability for what I did that night. And I'm telling you, I handled it wrong. So what more do you want for me to say, or how do you want me to rephrase it so that it fits I'm taking accountability for my actions that night?
Actually, I'm a bit of a stickler. So when you were addressing the actual issue, it's like someone apologizing for something, but they weren't apologizing for the actual thing that happened. That's why I kept on saying to you, it wasn't about the words. And
so do you
now
want me
we've got
to?
a point.
You want me to apologize or take accountability in a way?
When you interrupt me 2 or 3 times, I don't get the full point out.
Told this man not to touch me. Or
you're doing it now. You're not listening. And this is what I'm trying to highlight something to you. If you're explaining, if someone's explaining something to you, let the person finish so they get to the fullness of what the person's actually saying. Because I'm trying to highlight something to you in the situation. Because when I first addressed the situation, you changed the situation to being everybody was standing over me. And I was saying to you, no. When you were talking about the Justin situation, he wasn't standing over you, and he wasn't cussing you. He was telling you something.
There were several people standing around me.
You see, you're doing it again. You're not listening. Okay. You're jumping in. And what I'm trying to get you to highlight, what I'm trying to highlight to you is, you can apologize all you want, but when you're not listening to actual person's what they're actually saying, the apology is null and void. Because what you're doing is you're jumping ahead of what the situation is. The person has to fully finish the point, so the person can actually get to that point. Do you know what I'm saying to you? So you said you're sorry for the fight thing. I hear it. I'm not trying to harp on that. I was trying to highlight something to you though. This is the whole point. So when I was highlighting certain things, I was saying to you, this might be a little bit deeper than you actually just saying it's just a moment. That's the point I want to get to.
Kojo, I think you want to dig deeper into things that it's bottomed out. You know what I mean? Again, and I'm a little confused because when you say apologize to people, I'm telling you, I apologize to the people I wanted to apologize to, my family and my support system. So when you say apologize, it's like, who am I apologizing to? Are you wanting me to apologize to you, to the viewers, and take accountability in that way? Or because I don't have an apology for the people that I had that interaction with that night?
Again, we're not listening to what we're saying. I never asked you. I stopped asking for the apology. What I was trying to get you to is to highlight. This is why I need people to listen. I'm trying to get you to highlight, to see what you're actually saying, what you're doing in the current moment, right? And so I was trying to highlight to you that how you're revising the situation is not actually how it's revising. Again, this is the third time I'm saying this. I'm not asking you to be accountable for the situation. I'm not asking you to be sorry. That's my point. So I'm trying to highlight to you that there were certain things that the way you are revising the situation, I'm not asking for the apology. I was pointing out the situation is not as clean cut as you're saying it as it's a moment. It's not a moment. There's a lot of more energy behind that situation. So that's what I was saying to you, like, look, probably want to look at it a little bit more deeper. And I'm saying to you, look, there's other aspects to look at. That's actually the point I was trying to get to. But every time I go to that point, it's like I'm trying to ask for apology. No, I'm not asking for accountability. You've already said what you've said about it. So I said, cool. But I was trying to highlight something. There's something a little bit more deeper here, because even in the moment, the frustration you're feeling at the moment, right, is coming through the screen. There's certain words that you're using, even when you were describing when it comes to Justin's situation, which Justin, from what we saw anyway, you haven't explained anything more about Justin's situation that requires you to say, well, and it was a thinly veiled threat to say, I'll get other guys to have a conversation with him. It was a thinly veiled threat. And it's like, well, he actually, from what we saw and what you've actually said, nothing leads to the fact that you would need to have a thinly veiled
Justin
threat.
was sitting beside me in my face during that whole ordeal that they didn't show you, and he was doing motions to me, telling me to shut the F up and all types of things. So when I'm not talking, just because I'm sitting next to you doesn't mean I'm having a conversation with you. I wasn't even talking to Justin. And for you to now, while all of this other stuff is happening, you are doing motions and telling me to shut the F up, and I don't even know you. That's when I have a problem with, hey, I'm not even talking to you. This is an issue with me and LARON. This is an issue with me and MIEKA. I know it's your girl, but stay out of this. This has nothing to do with you. I haven't had an interaction with Justin. I hadn't talked to Justin. I don't know Justin. So if it's somebody that I don't know, you don't tell me to shut the F up and directly in my face. You don't put fingers in my face and do things like that to me. Who are you? So yeah, I am now. My attention is going to turn to you and to whomever else is coming at me from any other angle. That's all it is. If you allow me to work through this moment and allow the two people who are having the disagreement to have the disagreement, then all will be well. Stop inserting yourselves into things that you could have kept scrolling. You could have kept it quiet. You could have kept it cute, but you didn't. You kept inserting yourself, and you wanted to attack and berate me when I got 3-4 other people doing the same thing all at the same time. So I think you have to, sometimes I don't think you realize how much you watch it. You're watching it from a viewer standpoint and have to understand that you don't know what you don't know. You're not seeing what you're not seeing. You're only seeing a very small portion of the entire clip. And so you can't tell me who experienced it when you're watching a video that at 1 second it's here and then there's another camera angle from here the very next second that this person wasn't doing that to you. Well, tell me, because I wasn't there. Well, tell me then. You understand? So I think yeah, I'm gonna let that go, because yeah, we're going around in circles. We're gonna beat a dead horse at this point. But yeah, I felt how I felt. I didn't handle it the right way. I wish I had handled it differently, and it is what it is.
I hear that. Obviously, finishing the show and stuff. Is there anything that you regret or something that you would change, or what you've learned from being on the show? You can choose one of the three.
If anything that I regret, I don't regret doing the show. I do, hindsight is 2020. Looking back on it now, I'm kind of like, if I had known that it was going to be this type of situation, if I had known that it was going to be a production and just strictly for entertainment and to exploit people, then I would have gone in it with totally different intentions. I would have gone in it with totally different intentions. I would have just had, I would have had motive from jump. I would have known exactly that, I want to make it to the end. I want to be one of the couples on the bridge, and I'm going to do any and everything that I need to do to make sure that I'm on that last day. That's what I would have done differently. Absolutely. I would have gone in it with intentions that I realized a lot of other people came in with. And I probably would have been in a much better position. Unfortunately, I came in this thing green and naive and just not knowing what to expect. And I was too open, too trusting, um I was just way too naive, way too ignorant to think that this was going to go uh any other way than how it went.
No, that's fair. I do understand that. And so obviously for yourself, any projects at the moment that you're doing that you love for us to get behind, support, kind of help out, push, market, advertise.
I'm not doing any projects. I'm in corporate America, so it ain't nothing that this show can do to help boost my career. But I do have some people that are out there and they're doing things. If you need some real estate, realtor underscore Andrea, Andria. She's an amazing realtor in North Texas. If you need any type of training or any type of, personal workout type needs, Mad Squad Sports with a Z at the end. He's a great resource to go for there. And then just shout out my family, my nephews. My nephew is one of the top quarterbacks in the country. So y'all should go follow him and watch him. His IG page is underscore Trey Williams 3, I believe, underscore Trey Williams 3 on Instagram. And then my niece is actually like a little YouTube star. She has like a little YouTube plaque and she got like 300,000 subscribers. Like she's really big. So her page is called I Am Alani. So go show my girl some love, go show my nephew some love. And yeah, if y'all need some real estate or any sports type needs, go holler at them.
Appreciate it, Alexis. Thank you. Much love for coming on here. And, I know it's not an easy crowd to, you know,
I'm glad I cut them off. I haven't looked at a single comment, so that has been. I don't think we would have made it through. Oh my goodness, that was a what 3.5 hour almost
about 3 hours,
interview.
10 minutes. Yeah.
Jeez,
Good.
yeah,
You held your own, you know what I mean? And you let us know the truth, and I always respect that, you know what I'm saying to you? And it takes a
yeah,
big person to come up here and share their thoughts, their hearts, and what they've been through. So I'm not mad at it, you know what I'm saying to you? It's respect.
absolutely. Can I ask you some questions since you've asked me so many?
Oh, you can go for it.
Um, are you a therapist or are you professional at it?
Nope,
Yeah,
not at
I
all.
think I can kind of you probably should keep your day job, man. No, I'm just playing. But yeah, I think you like to in a way, almost in a way, Kojo, honestly, to overly analyze things.
Okay.
That you just, some things you just gotta let it be what it is. So if I could give you any type of advice or, ask you a question, I was like, is he a therapist or something? And yeah, I just
But
don't
do you know
think
that's a great
don't read
compliment, though?
so
Do you know that's a
yeah.
great compliment?
You think?
If you
Oh, I
think I'm
mean,
a therapist,
yeah,
it's a great compliment. Why would you think I'm a therapist?
because you just seem like let's dig deeper into that. It just seems like I think you're over analyzing things
No, but why would you think
to
I'm a therapist, though? If I
because
analyze things and I wasn't, and it's not on a therapeutical level or psychological level, why would you think I'm
I'll
a
be honest
therapist?
with you. I'm gonna keep it a buck. I have one of my best friend is a licensed therapist, and she sent a text message while I was live here tonight and was like, is he supposed to be a therapist or something?" I was like, "I don't know. Let me ask." So yeah,
Again, that's a
that's what that
compliment,
was.
because the person understands why they would think I'm a therapist, because the way I'm addressing the certain issues and going about it, it's kind of close to being almost like therapy. But I'm not a therapist, so it's
Yeah,
a compliment.
I mean, yeah, if you wanna,
Yeah,
you can take it that way. You can take it that way.
I appreciate it. Was I missed
Um,
against somewhere else?
huh?
Was that meant to be bad? I thought it was a good
I
thing. I
don't
thought
think it
you
was
fair.
meant to be bad, but I'm just like, you seem to really want to analyze things that I don't think you're as accurate as you think you are with some
Okay.
things. Not just that, just from our interaction. Like I don't think you were as on point as maybe you thought you were, kind of like hitting nail on the head a little bit about some things. But so that's why she was just like, "Is he a therapist?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I'll ask." Um, but also, do you like what you do?
I love what I do.
So what do you think? Would you call yourself like a helpful person or a supportive person, an uplifting person?
Yeah.
So when it comes to like these type of platforms, and I respect your platform 1000%, absolutely. But I just think I want to challenge not only you, Kojo, but a lot more bloggers and just people in general, to say, if you're not um 1000%, and I get it, this is your moneymaker, you know what I'm saying? This is how you eat. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna knock your hustle. But as a Christian, as someone who really does follow Christ, like, do you think that it would be okay to be as judgmental or as kind of as critical as you have been about not only just me, but some of the other interviews and stuff that I've seen? Do you think that that is aligned with who you are spiritually?
Which part would you feel is judgmental?
Just kind of just hot takes like every day, like with different things. Like you watch some of the stuff, and I don't watch all of it. I watched a little bit of with Dominique, um, and just a few other clips from other things, and it's just like without even knowing people, a lot of times I think a lot of bloggers don't realize that you guys analyze things and break things down in a way, and it's so harsh, and it could be so daunting on people. Like if they weren't a strong person, you know what I mean? Like it could really tear some people down. I just really want to challenge y'all to just really try and look at it from a lens that we don't know what we don't know. And maybe we shouldn't be as harsh as we've been in our judgments. You know what I mean? That's
Mm.
all. I just wanted to see how you felt about if you felt like that was truly aligned with who you are. Do you feel like you could be better in some of your assessments or less harsh? Even
I can
not
only
just
go
about
on what you
me,
give me.
but other people.
I can only go on what you give me. So I make
We'll be here
we
all
all make
night, man.
judgments, by the way. But I'm making judgments on based on what you give me and what I've seen on the screen, right?
Yeah.
So I try to collect as much information as possible to make an incisive judgment, or to be able to give some helpful, constructive feedback or some information to help the person going forward.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? I think it aligns very much well with my faith.
I got you.
You know?
Well, this has been fun. I just wanted to ask you a few questions. I think very rarely the interviewer gets interviewed at all on these types of deals.
Hey, I don't mind. I'm always open to answer questions, so I get it.
Yeah, we should do another chat one day if you're open
Hey,
to it.
whenever you're ready, hey,
Yeah,
I'm
this
ready.
has
I'm always
been
ready.
this has
Maybe
been
you can
really
interview me. Maybe
long.
you can interview me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. I would actually like that. Ask you a few questions. I'll go back and analyze some of your interviews and write down some specifics so I can come prepared next time. And we'll talk
I'm
about
ready.
some of the things that probably was a little bit more harsh than what you probably should have been. You know what I mean?
Hey, potentially, maybe I'll look back on it and see. Maybe I could have done some things a bit different. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't mind, man. You know what I mean?
Maybe we can all be accountable.
Hey, maybe we can all be accountable.
I'm just messing with you, man. It's getting late. What time is it there in London?
It's 5 o'clock in the morning, but it's all good.
Is it really?
Hey, man, look,
Oh,
you
I'm
know.
sorry, man. I didn't
No, don't be
realize.
sorry. Listen, this is my job. I work
I wouldn't
nights.
have
I
I
work the
wouldn't have
American time. It's good. It's all good.
yeah, I wouldn't
Don't
have
even worry.
scheduled it for this time if I had known that it was that big
No,
of
no,
a
no, no,
difference
no.
in time.
This is what we always do at this time. You're good. Don't even
Yeah.
worry. You're good.
Well, all right.
I appreciate you. All right.
Yeah, I appreciate you.
Thank you. All right.
All right.
Audience members, thank you so much for coming through. It's been an amazing show and great conversation as well. I think this is a great example of just having dialogue, and sometimes we agree, sometimes we don't agree, right? And it is what it is, right? So I hope you guys have enjoyed the show. I hope you've enjoyed the time we got spent together. Alexis brought out, a lot of people here. I think we had 1,600 people showing up here, wanting to be on the show. So I appreciate you for that as well.
Yeah.
And listen, for those of you who are watching you're watching it back, you know what I'm saying? To leave a comment down below. You know what I'm saying to you? And those of you in the chat, thank you for keeping it cute, classy, and kosher. We always appreciate you guys as well. So listen, make sure you guys like, share, subscribe, click on the bell button for notification of uploads. I know you guys are going to be waiting for the post live. I don't know, I'm a little bit tired, you know what I mean? We could do it, we could always do a post live, you know what I'm saying to you?
Yeah.
I know you guys want to probably berate me a little bit, but hey, we appreciate you guys. So Alexis, thank you so much. And audience, we'll see you again very, very soon. Much love and much appreciation.